He wants to wage a war on drugs, but if that's true, what we need is another D-Day, not another Vietnam.
So he was given a chance to reform and have a fresh start, being 18 and all. And just a couple months later, Hunter gets into Georgetown University to study history. He starts drinking a bit more, starts smoking Marlboro Reds, kind of starts partying more, and also starts to ramp up his crack habit. Quoted here: "Once I was hoping to buy cocaine, but I was sold a piece of crack, and I wasn't sure how to take the drug. I didn't have a stem, which is a crack pipe. So instead, I improvised. I stuffed the crack into a cigarette and I smoked it, but it didn't have much of an effect." Quoted from the New Yorker. It's 1993. Hunter graduates from Georgetown. He gets into law school. Stays in law school. He starts studying even more. And while he's partying, he meets a girl named Kathleen. And after a couple of weeks of hanging out, she gets knocked up. And within 3 months of that, they got married. Hunter eventually graduates from law school and gets his first real job as a big attorney, working for the biggest donor for his dad's campaign and being urgent. And he was making the big bucks. He was making as much money as his dad was being a senator.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. No, I'm serious. I'm being deadly earnest.
And this afforded him the ability to ramp up his habit. Started drinking from the bottle. And he's doing this for about 10 years. And 10 years later, in 2003, his wife forced him to go to rehab. He was stumbling around. His crack habit was out of control. And within the month of going to rehab, he became Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, and Hunter achieved 7 years of sobriety. But then once 2010 came around, Hunter's on a business trip, he's flying home from the day. He decides, I'm going to have 3 Bloody Marys. Knocks him back, gets back home. And he continues to drink in secret for a couple of months. Eventually told his brother, and he went to rehab again. But a couple years later, Hunter gets a real nasty case of the shingles. Goes to the doctor and they prescribe him Vicodin. He's taking Vicodin for about a month, but once his prescription ran out, he started drinking again. And while on a month-long drinking binge, Hunter decided he was going to join the military and serve his country. So right before the age of 44. And on May 7th, he was assigned to the Reserve Naval Unit in Norfolk. So Hunter gets sworn in from a small ceremony with his father at the White House. And on his first day, Hunter had to submit a drug test. He submitted the test, and then just a few months later, he gets a letter in the mail stating that crack was found in the system. And under Navy rules, a positive test triggers a discharge. Like, he was positive it was not his fault. It couldn't have been his. So he wrote a letter. He got a team of attorneys together. And they said, we had no idea how this drug got in my system. And he suggested that when I was at the bar, I think I smoked a cigarette from these 2 black men, and it had been laced with crack. So we spent months debating this with his attorneys, with the appeals panel, but because of his past drug abuse and his rehab stints, they decided not to appeal. So the records show Hunter was discharged February 8th, 2014. And from there, the crack binge continued.
We have a lot of bad judgment in my family. My son, who's over 40, just joined the United States Navy. He's about to be sworn in as an officer.
So just a couple of months later, from being discharged from the Navy for using cocaine, Hunter gets a nice, cushy job on the board of Burisma. With no previous experience in energy, working at the largest Ukrainian gas and energy firm. And you want to know how much Hunter Biden made? He made $86,000 a month.
In the list you gave me of the reasons why you're on that board, you did not list the fact that you were the son of the vice president.
Yeah. No,
What role do you think that played?
I think that it is impossible for me to be on any of the boards that I just mentioned without saying I'm the son of the Vice President of the United States.
Maybe this isn't a good idea to go and sit on the board of this
I just said to you.
Ukrainian company.
I said to you, in retrospect, I wish
Right, but
that my
at the
judgment.
time, you've never thought, this might not look right.
You know what? I'm a human. And you know what? Did I make a mistake? Well, maybe in the grand scheme of things, yeah.
So right after getting this job at Burisma, Hunter decides, I'm going to get cleaned up this time. So he goes to the sketchiest rehab clinic in all of Mexico, in Tijuana, to get the illegal treatment in the United States using the West African shrub plant. But then a couple months later, he starts using again. He's doing this for about a year. And then in June 6th of 2015, a very significant event happens.
Good evening. The
political world tonight is mourning the death of Beau Biden, the son of Vice President Joe Biden, who succumbed to brain cancer Saturday at the age of 46.
His brother Joseph dies of a brain tumor. It's unexpected, it's a real tragedy. And during this time, Hunter starts using even more. And his wife forced him to go to couples therapy. And they reached an agreement that if Hunter started drinking again, he would have to move out of the house. And the day after their 22nd anniversary, Hunter left his couples therapy session, drank a bottle of vodka, and moved on out. A month later goes by at this. He's moved out, and he decides, oh, I'm going to get sober again. Let's go to rehab. And he's really trying to show his wife that he was cleaning up. He wanted to make things work with her. So he's in rehab, and then all of a sudden,
A website that encourages people to cheat on their partners is reeling from a huge data breach. AshleyMadison.com executives confirmed this morning that their website has been hacked.
the Ashley Madison hack happens. And you know whose name was in the database? Hunter Biden. Not only that, his credit card was on file, pictures were on file, photos were on file. And because of that, Hunter and Kathleen finally decided to separate, not get divorced, due to the Ashley Madison hack revealing that he was cheating on her this whole entire time. And Hunter continued to use and fall down the dark hole of drug abuse for a couple of months. So Hunter decides to enroll in rehab again. It's a treatment program. And while there, he gets a call to go to a business meeting in Monte Carlo. So Hunter flies out, and while he's in the bathroom of the board meeting, a stranger came up to him and offered him cocaine. And then Hunter started doing the cocaine. So when he came back from his business trip and went back to the rehab, he told his counselors about the relapse. But he refused to take a drug test out of concerns that the results would be used against him and published in the press. And when the staff insisted that you take a test, he decided to leave the program. It's about a month later. Hunter and his dead brother's widow, Haley, went to the Hamptons with their children, really just trying to get away from it all. And Hunter would spend nights over at Haley's house watching TV. And Hunter stated, started to think of Haley as the only person in my life who understood my thoughts. They were starting to get closer and closer, while Hunter was still married to his wife. So Hunter, who was already moved out of his marital home with his estranged wife Kathleen, somehow kind of dating his dead brother's widow Haley, he made plans to go head to a detox center in Arizona to get cleaned up. While he was on the layover flight in LA, he got sidetracked. We lost something in the flight. He had to stay in LA for a week. So the minute he got to LA, he walked up to a homeless man and asked him, "Hey man, you know where I can buy some crack?" The man took him to a nearby homeless encampment where in a narrow passageway between the tents, someone put a gun to his head before realizing that he was a buyer. And Hunter returned a few more times to buy crack that week, while partying in strip clubs and nightclubs all throughout LA. And after a week-long crack thing, Hunter decided, I'm going to go drive to the rehab myself in Arizona while in the midst of a crack episode. So he rents a car and takes off in the middle of the night. So he's driving down Interstate 10, listening to tunes, smoking some crack, and then all of a sudden lost control of his car. Jumped the median, skipped to the stop on the shoulder on the westbound side. His car was totaled. So Hunter called Hertz, who collected the damaged car, and gave him a second rental. And he told him that there was a barn owl that flew overhead, and I was driving, and I just had to swerve the car because I didn't want to hit the owl. Hertz takes the car back, they give him a new one, he's on his merry way. And that night, Hunter arrived at the rehab in Prescott and dropped off the car at the Hertz Rent-A-Car Center. So when Hertz took back the car, they're cleaning the car, they're seeing if he left anything inside. And what did they find? Well, Hertz ended up calling the police because of what they found. They found a bag of crack, a meth pipe, Secret Service business cards, Hunter's credit cards, Hunter's driver's license, and his dead brother Joseph's Attorney General badge. But Hunter was not around. The police had no idea where he was at. So within the hour, the police ended up calling the FBI to get involved. And while they're requesting the warrants on the phone, the police get a call from a Secret Service agent. And he informs them that Hunter is safe and secure. There's no need to worry about him. Even though it was a Biden family member, the district attorney was still going to bring a case against Hunter. So they're building a case, but then last minute they decided to drop it. The reason why they decided to drop the case was citing a lack of evidence. There wasn't any fingerprints on the pipe, even though it was confirmed that there was crack cocaine residue all over the pipe. And once again, Hunter is on his merry way. So just 1 week after the Hertz rent-a-car accident, he's in rehab, and his dead brother's widow, Haley, flew out to go see Hunter. And during their stay, they got extremely close. And they decided they were going to be a couple, but keep their relationship a secret, hiding from Hunter's wife and the press. Let's in the press time. In Hunter's wife. Titled, Beau Biden's widow having an affair with married brother. Within a couple of months, Hunter's wife, Kathleen, filed for divorce. Not only did she just file for divorce, but she also filed a motion to freeze his assets, stating that over the course of the separation, Hunter had drained hundreds of thousands of dollars from the couple's marital assets, creating financial concerns for the family by spending extravagantly on his own interests, including drugs, alcohol, prostitutes, strip clubs, gifts for women with whom he had sexual relations, while leaving his family no funds to pay legitimate bills. Through these proceedings, the judge claimed that Kathleen should receive a monthly payment of $37,000 for alimony, tuition, child care costs for a decade. And Hunter said he was cleaned out. He said, "There's no way I can pay this." He had nothing. Even though he's making $86,000 a month being on the board of bereavement. But what pissed Hunter off the most in these whole court proceedings was being accused of hiring strippers and prostitutes. And he denied them, saying he hadn't seen a stripper in years. And the evening that story was published in the New York Post, he said, "I went directly to a strip club and I said, no." Hunter started going to several strip clubs right after this incident came out. There's been stories of him getting sex toys used on him, he's using sex toys on others, smoking crack in strip clubs in the VIP rooms. It's 2018 and Hunter's going to tons of strip clubs. And one stripper catches his eye, Dallas. And he loves Dallas. And he's hanging out with Dallas, everything's all great. And just a couple of months later, Dallas goes up to Hunter and tells him that she's pregnant with his kid. And Hunter wants nothing to do with it. So she has the kid, she goes to court trying to get child support. And in the middle of all of this, they demand a paternity test being done. So while the test is being done, Hunter meets a woman, Melissa Cohen. And after the 6 days of meeting her, they got married. They got matching tattoos as well. And Melissa and him buy a house together in LA. And while they're doing all of this, Dallas comes back with the paternity test results, and it is Hunter's kid. So currently right now, they're in the middle of a child support lawsuit where they're trying to get the money out of Hunter. But Hunter's saying he has nothing. He's cleaned out, even though he just bought a $3.3 million home in LA. Despite Hunter staying very low-key in his LA home, he has come up in the news recently with his laptop situation. And the laptop does confirm a lot of the incidents that have happened throughout the years with different strippers and prostitutes and all of that. Does any of this have to do with Joe Biden? I would say kind of. Because his dad was the leading advocate for the war on drugs, the 1994 crime bill, that harshened sentences for crack cocaine. And despite all of that, Hunter has never been to jail. He's never gotten a ticket for any of this, and he's consistently gotten away with it. And I think the biggest thing to take away here is that this is politics. This is the hypocritical stuff that politicians do. Trump does it. Joe Biden does it.
Come on, man.
Obama does it. Everyone does it. And in regards to the whole Burisma thing with his father being the vice president, I just want to read you one. This is an actual law. Federal regulation prohibits federal employees from using public office for private gain or for the private gain of relatives. This regulation, however, does not apply to the president or vice president. So even if these things did happen, they are not illegal. This is the way government is. And that's where we're at with the saga of Hunter Biden. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe.
The history of Netflix is one of the most fascinating stories, but things were nearly very different. At one point, Netflix was a small DVD rental service on the verge of going out of business, and they were desperately trying to sell their company to their biggest competitor, Blockbuster. However, Blockbuster turned their offer down and laughed them out the room. Fast forward a couple of decades, and Blockbuster have long since gone bankrupt, whilst Netflix went on to be worth over $200 billion, win countless prestigious awards, and completely revolutionize entertainment. So, how did they do it? And most importantly, why is Netflix now in very deep trouble? Mark Randolph was sure of one thing. He wanted to start his own internet business. He'd seen the huge success Amazon was having selling books online and felt there was a huge opportunity with this new internet thing. The only problem was that he had no clue what business to start. For months, everywhere Mark went, he carried around a little notebook to write ideas in, and he then pitched them to his friend Reed. How about we sell personalized surfboards, dog food, baseball bats? Mark had endless ideas of things they could sell, but Reed always just shook his head and said, that'll never work. After Mark had gone through more than 100 ideas, Reed said that they should instead try to find something that people will pay for repeatedly. So once you found a customer, you'll be able to sell to them over and over again. Reed also said that they should stay away from customizable items.
What is
Because then
happening?
every new order requires additional work, so it's not as scalable. Mark considered this and then threw out one final suggestion. How about videotapes? For the first time, Reed didn't immediately dismiss the idea. Instead, he looked out the window, seemingly deep in thought, and eventually said, maybe. Now, here's the thing. Right before Mark had mentioned videotapes, Reed had just been fined a $40 late fee by Blockbuster for returning a movie late. Reed thought to himself that perhaps movie rentals was the industry in need of a change. Perhaps this could be their big business idea, renting out movies via the internet. It's perfect, right? Wrong. As soon as Mark and Reed thought about the idea some more, reality started to sink in. Remember, this was 1997, but people were using VHS tapes, which were very bulky to ship, and this had pretty high postage costs. So they'd be at a huge disadvantage compared to physical video rental stores who didn't have to pay postage. Not to mention the high risk of the tapes getting damaged in the mail. It started to become clear to both Mark and Reed that business idea was dead before it had even begun. At least, it was until a few weeks later, when Reed was reading an article in a tech magazine about a new technology called DVDs, which would solve most of the issues that VHS tapes had. DVDs were much smaller and lighter, meaning they were easier and cheaper to ship. In fact, they could be posted with just a regular stamp of 32 cents. Plus, DVDs were much cheaper to buy and easier to store, so Reed felt the business model of renting out DVDs could work much better than VHS tapes. And since it was a brand new technology, nobody else was doing it yet. Admittedly, neither Mark nor Reed had ever actually seen a DVD before. Prior to 1997, DVDs were only available in Japan, but both of them had liked the idea of bringing movie rentals onto the internet, especially Reed, who just received yet another hefty late fine from Blockbuster. And so this new DVD technology seemed like it could be the answer. They were essentially betting big that DVDs would become more mainstream and the default standard instead of VHS tapes. And thus, the original idea for Netflix was born. The business model was fairly simple. Mark and Reed would buy a big collection of DVDs and create a website where people could rent them out for a small fee each. After a customer placed an order, they'd mail them the DVD of their choice in a protective sleeve, and it'd be at their doorstep in a couple of days. Once they'd watched it, the customer would simply put the DVD into a prepaid return envelope that was included with the order and send it back. So, now they had their business idea, they needed some money to fund it. Luckily, Reed already had some of his own money to invest through previous business venture, but Mark couldn't really afford to put much money in himself. So he instead turned to his mother, who became one of Netflix's earliest investors. Of course, she only invested because she wanted to support her son. Yet, that initial investment would go on to make her insanely wealthy. By the end of 1997, Mark and Reed had used their initial money to get a little office and hire a small team. Admittedly, it was all very low budget. They had just a few cheap folding tables, along with old second-hand furniture, and the employees they hired were working for well below average wages. But they promised them stock options, meaning those early employees would get a big payout if Netflix succeeded. Although, initially, none of the team wanted the company to be called Netflix. The word Flix had a pretty negative, low-quality connotation, so they all came up with other name ideas like Luna, Cinema Center, Now Showing, Scene 1, and Video Pix. But eventually, they all decided it would make sense to have a name that would combine one word related to the internet and one word related to movies. And since Netflix hit that criteria, plus it was short and kind of catchy, eventually they just went with that, and the name stuck. The small Netflix team then spent the next few months building their website and buying multiple copies of literally every DVD they possibly could. Since the DVD format was still new, there were only around 800 titles available because a lot of movie studios hadn't been releasing their films on DVD yet. But Netflix tracked them all down so they could legitimately claim to have every DVD that had been made. Of course, they pretty much just had to guess how many copies of each movie to buy, based on what they thought might be popular. But finally, after months of work and planning, and questioning whether this idea was totally insane or not, they were ready to launch Netflix to the world. It was time for the madness to begin. It was 8:56 a.m., and to say that the small Netflix team were nervous would be a ridiculous understatement. Mark could feel beads of sweat on his forehead as he checked the clock once again. At 9 a.m., they would make the Netflix website publicly accessible to the world. The team had been preparing for this moment for months. They'd even lined up a bunch of interviews with news outlets and reporters so that as soon as they put the website live, they'd get lots of media attention to introduce people to their new service. However, the biggest reason for their anxiety was none of them had any idea how many orders to expect. It could be 0, it could be 10, it could be hundreds. At 9 a.m. on the dot, one of the engineers made a few clicks on his computer and the Netflix site was officially live. They'd hooked up a bell to the computer so it would ring whenever they got a new sale. And so, to get the ball rolling, Mark himself placed the first ever order on Netflix. He rented a copy of Casino and entered his details to get it shipped to his home address. The bell rang and Netflix were in business. A minute later, the bell rang again, and again, and again. These were now real customers, strangers somewhere on the internet who were ordering DVDs for themselves. You see, in the weeks leading up to the website launch, the Netflix team had infiltrated online forums and bulletin boards for movie fans and started building up profiles on these sites as if they were normal users. Then, as soon as the Netflix website launched, they started making comments like, "Anyone try out that new DVD by mail company yet? Netflix? Looks like they have hundreds of DVDs. Prices are pretty good too." Obviously, they gave no indication they worked for Netflix. And so people on these forums just thought it was genuine comments, which helped drive some movie fans to the Netflix website right from day one. Mark was excited and went off to the other room in the office to do his scheduled interviews with the media to help drum up even more publicity for Netflix's launch. And for 15 glorious minutes, the orders continued to roll in. But then Mark noticed the bell had stopped ringing, meaning the orders had stopped coming in. And it soon became clear from the worried expressions from everyone else in the office, something had gone horribly wrong. Turns out they'd had too much traffic, and their website had crashed. Remember, this was long before the days of cloud hosting, where you could instantly just add more servers and bandwidth. Back in 1998, you had servers physically in your office to host your website. Netflix hadn't bought enough of them, so someone had to run to the electronics store nearby to buy some more servers. They'd simply not expected demand to be this high on day one. Of course, it was a good problem to have, but it was also incredibly stressful. All that work over the last few months preparing to launch, and now just 15 minutes in, and people couldn't even access their websites. And there was no guarantee those people would check back again later. Mark's mind was racing, thinking of all the potential customers they were losing out on because of this. When one of their employees returned from the store with 8 new servers, they got the website back online. This time, the website lasted 45 minutes before it crashed yet again. Not just that, the Netflix team ran out of boxes to ship the DVDs, and they ran out of ink to print the shipping labels. Despite all the chaos though, they finished the first day with 137 orders, which was far higher than anyone had expected. And they'd have almost certainly had even more orders if the site had been crashing most of the day, so it was an incredibly promising start for the company. Of course, it was clear there was a huge amount of work ahead. There were several massive things they completely overlooked, like they hadn't set up automatic order confirmations, so the team was manually emailing everyone who placed an order. Plus, they hadn't even thought about how to handle international orders to other countries. And of course, the most urgent issue of all, simply trying to stop the site from crashing. The Netflix team knew they'd be working very late that night, so they ordered pizza, feeling optimistic about their new company. Of course, at that moment, not a single one of the Netflix team could have possibly predicted what would happen next. In Netflix's first full month after launching, their revenue passed $94,000. However, only $1,000 actually come from renting DVDs. The rest was all from selling DVDs. You see, when Netflix first launched, they gave people both options. You could buy the DVD for around $25 or rent it for $4. And Mark and Reed had expected most people would rent. In fact, they hadn't just expected people to rent, they needed people to rent. The business model model of renting out DVDs was much better, because Netflix could rent out the same DVD over and over again hundreds of times, and thus make far more money in the long run. But weirdly, hardly anyone was choosing to rent from Netflix. People were just buying the DVDs as a one-time transaction. Now sure, it was great they were making lots of DVD sales, but it wasn't sustainable. As soon as other large companies started selling the exact same DVDs as Netflix, they would become a commodity, as everyone would be selling identical products. So Netflix's profit margins would shrink and their sales would decrease. The only reason Netflix was selling so many DVDs in their first month was simply because nobody else had started selling DVDs on the internet yet. But Mark and Reed knew for a fact that other companies would soon start doing it. So basically, Netflix needed people to start renting more DVDs instead, because then they'd have higher profit margins and a business model that was harder to replicate, meaning they could build up a loyal customer base before anyone else. Funnily enough, just a few weeks later, in the summer of 1998, Mark and Reed got a call from Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. He wanted to meet them. Bezos had started Amazon as an online bookstore, but now he decided he wanted to build an everything store, and he was eyeing up DVDs as one of the next products Amazon could start selling. Since Amazon was pretty flush with cash after going public, Jeff was looking at the possibility of acquiring Netflix and integrating it into Amazon. In many ways, this was win-win for both sides. For Amazon, it would be much faster for them to get into the DVD market by buying Netflix instead of starting completely from scratch. And for Mark and Reed, it would mean they get a huge chunk of money for just a few months of work. Plus, they knew if they didn't sell Netflix to Amazon, it was only a matter of time before they were in direct competition with them. There was just one problem though. Mark and Reed didn't want to sell Netflix. They really felt there was huge potential with the online DVD rental idea, and they just devoted the last few months of their life to building a great small team, a working website, and the largest collection of DVDs. They were just getting started. So Mark and Reed declined Bezos' offer to buy Netflix. However, on the plane ride back home after meeting with Amazon, Mark and Reed came to another realization. Offering both DVD sales and rentals on the same website was probably overcomplicating things too much. It was basically like running two separate businesses, and it was confusing to customers as well. Both Mark and Reed strongly agreed renting DVDs was the business they actually wanted to be in. So instead of selling their entire company to Amazon, they came up with a deal. Once Amazon started selling DVDs, Netflix would redirect their users who wanted to buy DVDs to Amazon's websites. And in return, Amazon would direct customers to Netflix, advertising it as a way for customers to rent DVDs. In theory, this could solve everything. A partnership with Amazon would massively boost Netflix's profile, it would keep Amazon as a friend, not an enemy, and most importantly, it would mean Netflix could solely focus on DVD rentals, which is the business model Mark and Reed actually wanted to pursue, and that they felt would work best long term. But remember, in the first 2 months Netflix had been running so far, almost all of the money Netflix had made had come from selling DVDs, not renting. So Netflix were about to ditch the part of their business that was actually working well. What could possibly go wrong? In order to get more people renting DVDs from Netflix, Mark made a deal with some of the biggest manufacturers of DVD players, like Toshiba and Sony. The plan was that whenever someone bought a DVD player, if they entered the product's serial number on the Netflix website, Netflix would let them rent some DVDs for free. In theory, it made sense, because as a new customer bought a DVD player, they'd immediately sign up for Netflix for this promotion to get the free DVD rentals, and then hopefully get hooked on the service and become paying customers. But in reality, it was an absolute disaster. Netflix initially offered 3 free DVD rentals to anyone who bought a DVD player, but Sony pushed Netflix to make it 10 free rentals instead. This was really expensive for Netflix, but they desperately needed customers, so they agreed. The problems then began when the Netflix team noticed they'd shipped loads of free DVDs to the exact same address. It turns out, Sony had put the serial numbers for their DVD players on the outside of the boxes, which meant anyone could see the serial number without actually buying the DVD player. As a result, people could go into their local electronics store, simply look at the small print on the bottom of the DVD player boxes, and then claim 10 free DVDs from Netflix with every single serial code. In other words, the promotion was getting abused, and Netflix were getting ripped off. But it gets worse. Even with the legitimate customers who actually had bought a DVD player, once they'd redeemed their free DVDs, they never went back to the Netflix websites. People would claim the free ones from the promotion, but less than 5% became regular paying Netflix customers. So, although the promotion most definitely increased the amount of DVDs Netflix sent out, it was costing them huge amounts of money with very little to show for it. Netflix realized they needed to try a new promotion idea, and this time they decided to go for a publicity stunt. Congress had just released the full footage of Bill Clinton's grand jury jury testimony, where he went into detail about his affair with White House intern Monica Lewinsky. This was an event all of America was talking about, and lots of people wanted to see the footage of the trial. So Netflix decided to convert the video footage onto DVD formats and give it away on their website for just 2 cents, with the tagline, "Have your 2 cents on the Clinton testimony." Just as Netflix had hoped, many newspapers wrote about the promotion, giving Netflix the free publicity they needed. And at first, it seemed like a big marketing success. For just a few $1,000s, Netflix attracted thousands of new customers to their website. But then once again, things went wrong. You see, Netflix had partnered with a company to help them convert the videotape of the Clinton trial onto DVD, and then make lots of copies of it. But it turns out that the company was also offering a similar service to people making adult movies. And somehow, whilst creating these Bill Clinton discs for the Netflix promotion, they accidentally mixed some of the adult movies in with the Clinton discs. Since all the DVDs were unlabeled, nobody realized about the mix-up until Netflix had already sent some of their users some pretty hardcore stuff. Of course, as soon as Netflix realized about the mix-up, they sent an email apologizing to everyone who'd signed up for this promotion and asked that people return the explicit DVDs so Netflix could send them the proper Bill Clinton DVD as they'd advertised. Although, funnily enough, not a single person returned it. However, all of this didn't change the fact that Netflix was hemorrhaging money. None of their promotions were leading to returning customers, and the deal they'd made with Amazon wasn't going well either. Netflix had sent them loads of traffic, but Amazon wasn't sending many customers back towards Netflix. Things were all looking quite bleak. And Mark couldn't help wondering, should we have just sold to Amazon when we had the chance? Or should we have stuck with selling DVDs instead of renting them? And then things got even worse. Reed pulled Mark aside and said, "I'm worried about us. Actually, I'm worried about you, about your judgment." Now remember, Reed and Mark were both co-founders of Netflix. Reed had put up most of the money, but hadn't been as active within the company. Meanwhile, Mark was running the company as CEO, devoting most of his time to it. However, Reed opened his laptop to a PowerPoint he prepared and began to explain some of the many issues he felt Netflix was having. Reed tried to explain as politely as he could that he was concerned about Mark's recent choices. For example, some of his decisions with promotions, hiring, and the finances of the company, which admittedly were in a pretty bad state. Reed had always been pretty blunt and direct, but this presentation completely caught Mark off guard. He was furious. Was Reed seriously going to give him a presentation on all the ways Mark was failing as a CEO? Reed eventually ended by saying he wanted to become the Netflix CEO, and that Mark should move to the role of the president. He said they'd be a team working together, but Reed should have the official CEO title. Mark was completely overwhelmed by all this. He was angry. He was hurt. He considered Reed not just a co-founder, but a good friend, and this felt like a betrayal. But the worst part of all for Mark was that he knew Reed was right. Even though Mark had been essential in getting Netflix started, Reed simply had a lot more experience of running a company compared to Mark. And since Reed had a very good reputation in the tech industry after selling his previous business, he knew that Reed being CEO would be more popular with investors and help them get more attention and funding. After Mark had calmed down and rationalized the whole thing, he accepted. His job title wasn't that important to him anyway, and he'd still be heavily involved in any big decisions. Plus, he felt with Reed now giving Netflix 100% of his focus, they had a better shot of making this work. Of course, making Reed CEO wasn't magically going to fix all their problems. The reality was they were still struggling to get enough customers renting DVDs from them for the business to be profitable. Mark went for a run to clear his mind and try to process everything. And whilst he was running, an idea struck him. An idea that might just change everything. Up until this point, Netflix had basically just been doing the same thing as Blockbuster, but on the internet, and renting DVDs instead of VHS tapes. But then Mark thought, instead of people renting individual movies one at a time and keeping them for just a couple of days, what if Netflix completely ditched the return dates and late fees, and instead offered a recurring subscription plan for a flat monthly rate? You'd get 4 DVDs at a time, and whenever you were done with the film, you'd simply swap it for a different one. But you'd always have some movies at your home, meaning you had complete flexibility of when to watch things and when to swap the DVDs for new ones. It was perfect, because before this change, Blockbuster had a clear advantage over Netflix. If you wanted to watch a movie, you could just drive down to their physical stores, unlike Netflix where you had to wait 2 or 3 days for the DVD to ship. But with this new Netflix subscription model, where there were no set return dates and no late fees, it meant customers could always keep a few movies at their home so they were ready to watch instantly whenever the mood struck. So you didn't have to plan things out in advance. Reed loved the idea too, and once Netflix switched to this subscription model, immediately their popularity grew. On the first day they introduced this offer, 90% of people who saw it signed up to the subscription plan. That's an insanely high conversion number. Things were suddenly starting to look up for Netflix. Netflix. Not only did they now have a better business model, but DVDs were starting to become more mainstream, and DVD players had started to get much cheaper, which of course all led to more interest in Netflix. And thus, their subscribers started to grow more and more every month. And because the subscription automatically renewed each month, these were repeat customers, so their revenue was growing rapidly as well. However, things got even better for Netflix when they started developing an algorithm to match the right DVDs to the right people. Netflix had realized that as they added more and more DVDs to their collection, it was important users could easily find movies they liked. Not only would it make users more likely to renew their subscription each month, but Netflix wanted a way for people to discover movies that were cheaper for the company to buy. Because if everyone was just renting the newest, most in-demand DVDs, it would be more expensive for the company. But a recommendation algorithm would help people find DVDs specific to their tastes. So Netflix developed an algorithm called CineMatch to pick up on patterns between users who watch similar things. They also started asking users to rate the movies they watched, to help their prediction algorithm understand what each individual was enjoying, and what to recommend more of. Once again, this gave Netflix another advantage over competitors. So after several rocky years of changing their business model multiple times, Netflix were now finally on track. And then...
It's described as nothing short of breathtaking, a points drop never before seen on the US market. This closing bell might as well have been an alarm, so savage was the selling.
For an internet-based company that was investing heavily in growth, the dot-com crash was a disaster. Funding for internet companies completely dried up, and the sentiment towards internet businesses changed. As a result, Mark and Reed had to take some drastic action. Although Netflix had started gaining a lot more customers since switching to their subscription plan model, the company was still tiny compared to their biggest movie rental rival, Blockbuster. Whilst Netflix was on track to make around $5 million in revenue in 2000, Blockbuster made nearly $800 million in revenue in late fees alone. And Blockbuster was valued at around $6 billion and had around 60,000 employees. This was truly David versus Goliath. Netflix had just one thing in its favour. Blockbuster had been extremely slow to react to the rise of the internet. Blockbuster seemed to have the mantra, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And so they'd stuck with their physical stores and did things the way they always had. The problem for Netflix was that they knew eventually Blockbuster was likely to launch their own DVD by mail subscription service once it became clear that more and more people were switching to Netflix. Now, before the dot-com bubble burst and internet stock prices came crashing down, investors were throwing money at any companies that had .com in their name. And easy funding meant it would be possible for Netflix to invest heavily in growth and get a massive head start before Blockbuster or any other big companies started copying their idea. But after the dot-com bubble burst, no investors wanted to go anywhere near a business with .com in their name. And so getting the funding Netflix needed for their big expansion plans suddenly seemed impossible. However, Mark and Reed had an idea to save the company. Maybe Blockbuster would want to buy Netflix. It seemed like a win-win. A win for Mark and Reed because they could essentially continue running Netflix but be backed by Blockbuster's huge resources, working as a team rather than competitors. And it would be a win for Blockbuster because they'd immediately be able to kickstart their online business and give their customers an alternative option. So Reed used some of his contacts to try and arrange a meeting with Blockbuster. And for a while, they didn't hear anything back at all. Netflix weren't sure if Blockbuster even knew who they were. But weeks later, they had a call to say Blockbuster could meet with them the following morning. It was extremely short notice, but Mark and Reed dropped everything, got on a plane, and went to meet the Blockbuster CEO. The meeting was intimidating, especially as Blockbuster had most of the power in the negotiations. But Reed and Mark explained why Blockbuster and Netflix should join forces, how together they could dominate in-store and online movie rentals. The Blockbuster CEO heard them out, listening patiently, but eventually he said that he felt the dot-com hysteria was overblown, and the online business models like Netflix just weren't sustainable. Finally he asked, out of curiosity, what price are you looking to sell Netflix for? Reed had rehearsed this line in his head and replied, $50 million.
And basically they laughed at us. They laughed at us because of the hubris that in the heat of a dot-com meltdown, this upstart direct mail video business would dare to be worth $50 million. And it was crushing.
The Blockbuster CEO tried to hide his smirk, but it was immediately clear to Reed and Mark that Blockbuster had no interest in buying Netflix, and he thought their valuation was a joke. Mark and Reed left the meeting feeling devastated and extremely anxious about whether Netflix was even going to survive. One thing was clear though, if Blockbuster didn't want to buy Netflix, Netflix somehow had to beat Blockbuster. The struggling internet startup somehow had to take down the multi-billion-dollar empire. It was time for David to beat Goliath. Since Netflix knew money was going to be a lot tighter, they had to lay off a third of their employees. However, something interesting happened once they did this. They seemed to get more work done with less people. They kept only their best employees, their star players, and as a result, the company became leaner and more efficient, more focused and decisive. Plus, their service was genuinely popular with customers, so it seemed like Netflix might just about make it through these difficult economic times. But of course, to have any hope of competing with Blockbuster, they still needed money. And so in 2002, Netflix had its IPO, which is where a company starts selling their shares to the public on the stock market as a way to raise more money.
Netflix made a spectacular debut on the NASDAQ stock market today.
The next couple of years saw great growth for Netflix, which inevitably attracted Blockbuster's attention.
Blockbuster realized after we were public that we were going to be a real threat. And they geared up an effort. They launched in 2004, and from 2004 to 2007, we had a very fun, scary, epic battle with Blockbuster.
It took until 2004 for Blockbuster to eventually launch their own streaming website with a DVD by mail rental service exactly like Netflix had. And from that moment on, the two companies were in very direct competition. However, Mark Randolph, Netflix's co-founder and original CEO, would not be joining for the battle with Blockbuster. Ever since Reed's PowerPoint, where Reed took over as CEO, things had been a little different. Mark's responsibilities at the company had decreased, and he felt a little out of place. The original Netflix team of 8 employees had now become a team of hundreds. And whilst the growth was great, Mark missed those early startup days. The tight-knit family working together to solve all kinds of different challenges. Mark missed the spontaneity of every day being something totally different when you're a startup. And thus, Mark decided to step away from Netflix and instead focus on helping other small startups in their very early stages. So Reed was left to run Netflix himself, and he was well aware that the battle with Blockbuster was going to be brutal, especially now that Blockbuster was essentially offering the exact same DVD by mail service as Netflix, as well as having their physical stores too. And remember, even though Blockbuster had been so slow to adapt, Blockbuster was still a much larger company than Netflix, and thus they had a bigger budget to spend. In an interview at the time, Reed said that Blockbuster was throwing everything but the kitchen sink at them, and so the next day, the Blockbuster CEO literally sends a kitchen sink to Netflix's office. Seriously, the message was simple. Blockbuster finally saw the threat of Netflix and were going to put everything they could into beating them. So Netflix initially thought the solution to this was to experiment with a bunch of new features to try and differentiate themselves from Blockbuster's new copycat DVD by mail service. Firstly, Netflix created their own social network called Netflix Friends, where you could share with your friends what you were watching and see each other's movie ratings and recommendations. Netflix also experimented with other ways to make money, like selling discounted used DVDs, selling banner advertising on their websites, and even buying the movie rights to some small films from Sundance and other film festivals, and then putting them onto DVDs so they owned the content. Unfortunately, none of these new initiatives really helped Netflix much at all, and Reed quickly came to the realization that they were spreading themselves too thin by focusing on all these new ideas.
In hindsight, we realized when attacked, we should retreat to do the core better and not try to broaden the surface of attack, essentially. So now when people say, aren't you getting into news or sports? We're like, absolutely not.
In other words, Netflix realized their best chance of success was to be laser focused on improving their core business and not getting distracted by other ideas. Blockbuster, on the other hand, did not come to that. They started experimenting with totally new services, like renting out video games as well as movies. Meanwhile, Netflix stayed focused on movies and TV shows, and most importantly, they continued to look to the future. Even though by this point they were shipping out over 1 million DVDs by mail every day, it had become clear to the Netflix team that DVDs could not be their end game. Internet speeds were getting faster and faster, and in 2007, Netflix decided to launch a video-on-demand service, or in other words, letting people stream movies and TV shows over the internet. Netflix took some inspiration from YouTube for this. But to Netflix's credit, nobody else had properly attempted to stream entire TV shows and movies over the internet like this before, so it was a big move. Now, initially, Netflix's library of content they had the rights to stream over the internet was very small, and so they kept their DVD rental subscriptions as well. The streaming site was more like an added bonus for subscribers, and a way to differentiate themselves from Blockbuster. But Netflix knew that as internet speeds got faster, eventually they ditched DVDs completely and focused solely on streaming. The great news for Netflix, though, was that back then, they were the only streaming company, and so it was relatively cheap for them to get licenses to use other people's content, as there was no competition. In fact, they made a great deal with a company called Starz for $20 million, which gave them the rights to stream a huge library of popular content, including Disney and Sony movies. Netflix also made deals with Xbox, PlayStation, TiVo, and Apple, so that it was easy for people to watch Netflix's streaming service on their TVs and other devices, since this was before the days where everyone had a smart TV with apps on. But most importantly, by launching this new streaming service, it allowed Netflix to begin expanding internationally. Up until this point, Netflix had really just focused on the US markets, because the business model of sending out DVDs by mail meant they were relying on the US Postal Service, and entering other countries would have meant whole new logistical challenges to ship out the DVDs. But with this new streaming site they launched, Netflix could now pretty easily enter any country in the world, since they didn't have to ship anything physical. Meanwhile, Netflix also continued to invest heavily in their recommendation algorithm to match users to the right content, because they'd realized that their previous rating system wasn't actually the best way to understand what customers really wanted.
Everyone would rate Schindler's List 5 stars, and then they'd rate Adam Sandler, the do-over 3 stars. Okay, but in fact, when you look at what they watched, it was almost always Adam Sandler. Okay, and so what happens is when we rate and we're metacognitive about quality, that's sort of our aspirational self. And it works out much better to please people to look at the actual choices that they make.
So in 2007, Netflix ran a public contest called the Netflix Prize, where they offered $1 million reward for the best prediction algorithm to help match users to the right content. The contest was open to anyone at all, and so it not only helped Netflix get a better recommendation algorithm, but it was great marketing for the company too, because lots of new customers heard about Netflix because of this $1 million competition they ran. Over the years, Netflix would continue to invest in trying to personalize their service to each user. For example, nowadays, different users see different thumbnails on Netflix's websites based on what Netflix's algorithms think someone is more likely to click on, using all the data they have about a user's viewing preferences. However, whilst Netflix were making a lot of good decisions, in the mid-2000s, Blockbuster was also busy trying to promote its DVD by mail rental service to try and win back some of the customers they'd lost to Netflix. Blockbuster even decided to ditch their late fees like Netflix had done. However, Blockbuster got a little greedy here. Whilst they did scrap late fees for people who returned movies late, they changed it so that if you didn't bring the movie back within a week of the date you were given, they automatically charged you the full price of buying the movie and said it was yours to keep whether you wanted it or not. So they tried to spin it like they were making a really great improvement to their service, like Netflix had done, but it came across as a bit of a greedy cash grab. Blockbuster also had rewind fees if you'd forgotten to rewind your VHS tape back to the beginning when you returned it. Basically, it seemed like Blockbuster's strategies to make more money often involved giving the customer a worse experience or squeezing money out of them. Whereas Netflix back then tried to make more money by improving the customer experience. Gradually, more and more customers started to drift over to Netflix, especially after Netflix had launched their streaming site, which was ultimately just way more convenient than renting DVDs by mail or in physical stores. And thus, by 2010, Blockbuster had filed for bankruptcy.
Video rental chain Blockbuster has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Blockbuster has been synonymous with the home video market, but has been losing money and market share for years. Competition from the likes of Netflix and Redbox weighed on the retailer dependent on its brick-and-mortar infrastructure.
But why exactly did Netflix beat Blockbuster? And are there any lessons we can learn here? Well, clearly Blockbuster was consistently slow to react to changes in technology. Netflix was proactive about innovation, Blockbuster was extremely reactive, and repeatedly failed to adapt until it was too late, leaving them stuck in the past.
Really, if they had started 2 years earlier, we probably would have won a perfect
hindsight, because they would have just even though it's messy execution, they would have overwhelmed us.
Blockbuster was too busy making money with their current business model to realize how fast things were changing with the internet, and Netflix was always a few steps ahead. Plus, the big issue for Blockbuster was that they'd expanded so rapidly and had so many physical stores, which meant they were terribly positioned to act quickly to technological changes. All that expensive real estate Blockbuster had, which had once been their big advantage, become their biggest weakness once things started going online. In Blockbuster's defense, this type of thing isn't uncommon. Many big companies can't adapt quickly enough when their industry shifts. Think about how dominant Nokia once were in mobiles, or Kodak in photography. But companies get stuck doing things a certain way and are too bloated and bureaucratic to react quickly to changes. So a new leaner startup innovates and takes their place. And that's why Netflix deserves some credit here. Once they finally got things running so well with their DVD subscription service, it would have been tempting to stick with that. But instead they started focusing on streaming instead. And throughout Netflix's entire history they've been like this. Like when they stopped selling DVDs to focus on rentals, or when they stopped normal rentals to focus on their subscription plan. Rather than be content with what was working, they kept trying to improve. And this was largely down to their extremely unique and bizarre culture, which we're going to look at very shortly. But for Blockbuster's management, they must surely look back and think of how differently things could have gone if they'd just made a few better decisions. Like in 1999, Blockbuster was approached by Enron to make a video-on-demand streaming service pretty similar to the one Netflix would make 8 years later. Blockbuster could have dominated the streaming industry if they'd listened to this advice and been the first ones to launch a streaming service. As this article points out, for essentially zero cost to itself, Blockbuster had been handed a video-on-demand infrastructure, and yet because they were doing so well as they were, and were unwilling to adapt to a new business model, the deal never went ahead. As if that wasn't bad enough, remember as well that in 2000, Netflix literally turned up at Blockbuster's office trying to sell their company to Blockbuster for just $50 million, which was virtually nothing to Blockbuster, who were worth billions at the time. But they laughed them out the room. Of course, if Blockbuster had bought Netflix, they'd have probably stifled all the innovation anyway, so there's no guarantee Netflix would have gone on to become what it is today. But still, with hindsight, it's crazy how different things would have been if Blockbuster bought Netflix when they had the chance. Having said all of that though, it should be acknowledged that technically, Blockbuster isn't fully dead. There is actually one Blockbuster store left that's privately owned, but it's basically there as a nostalgic tourist attraction. There was even a documentary made about this last ever Blockbuster store, which, ironically, was available to stream on Netflix. Before we get to the next chapter, I want to tell you about our video sponsor, ShipStation. When you run a business, every misplaced moment feels like a missed opportunity, but ShipStation gives e-commerce sellers more time to focus on the most important things by automating time-intensive shipping processes. ShipStation handles all your shipping and handling, and it works with all your storefronts. Amazon, eBay, Etsy, and more. And what I really like is they also give you deeply discounted shipping rates, normally reserved for Fortune 500 companies. So it's time to let go of all those shipping tasks. ShipStation can do it better and faster. Sign up for a free 60-day trial today at shipstation.com/magnates and start saving time on every shipment. That's 2 whole months of shipping made quick and painless, and it's free to try. Just go to shipstation.com/magnates. ShipStation. Make ship happen. And then once you've done that, let's get back to our story. Despite defeating Blockbuster, Netflix now had another problem to deal with, themselves. You see, in 2011, Netflix made what Reed has since called the biggest mistake in Netflix's history. At the time, Netflix was charging users $10 per month for a Netflix subscription. And for that, you got to rent out a physical DVD and you got access to their streaming service. Both were included as part of one single package. But since they'd launched their streaming service a few years ago, it had really grown in popularity, and it was clear to Reed that eventually Netflix would ditch the DVD business model completely and solely become a streaming service, since watching movies instantly over the internet was clearly way more convenient than mailing physical discs. So Reed decided to split up Netflix's DVD business and its streaming business. The streaming service would be on the Netflix website like normal, but if you wanted to rent DVDs, you had to go to a brand new website they created called Quickster. This was the first mistake. Suddenly users who wanted both streaming and DVDs now had to use 2 separate websites with 2 separate logins. Next, Netflix told their customers that instead of $10 per month, they'd now be charged $8 per month for the DVD rentals, plus $8 per month for the streaming. Now, if you only wanted one or the other, that was great. But most people had gotten used to having both for $10. Now they were suddenly having to pay $16 for both. It was a massive out-of-the-blue price increase right in the middle of a recession where families were really struggling, and people were paying more for a worse product because now they had to have two separate accounts managed through two separate websites.
The huge mistake we made is, remember 2010, we're in the middle of a recession, still pretty deep, is we said, well, it's $8 is a good price for the DVD plan, it's a good price for the streaming plan, so the combination, which is $16, is the new price. And the old price was $10. So from a customer standpoint, one day the price went up 60% in the middle of a recession, and now they had to deal with two user interfaces instead of one. So there was a huge uproar because we took 20 million U.S. households in the middle of the 2008 recession and gave them a 60% price increase. So then the mob effect, the crowd effect kicked in, and we went from love to hated very quickly.
It seemed like people hated everything about Quickstart, including the name. And so Reed got on camera to make a public apology and try to explain why they'd made the change.
We're making this video today to apologize in person, or at least on camera, for something that we did recently.
However, the apology just backfired even further. In fact, SNL even ended up making a parody of it.
But that's not all. We knew you loved Netflix because it was an easy-to-use website for all your movie needs. To make it better, we split it into two separate, slightly more confusing sites. Netflix for streaming video, and Quickster, which will handle DVD rentals.
Did we spell Quickster in a normal way? No, we didn't. Q-W-I-K. Annoying, but easier.
Right. Yeah, and by the way, we know it's off-putting to see the CEO of a powerful company rocking a goatee and teal shirt, but trust us. We know what we're doing.
The whole debacle hurt Netflix's reputation, and over 1 million subscribers left because of it. As a result, they killed off the Quickster brand completely and reverted back to keeping everything on the Netflix websites. However, despite this setback, Netflix moved on quickly and began working on yet another huge change. But this time, the change they were going to make would be an unimaginably huge success. Streaming movies and TV shows over the internet was great. Of all the business models Netflix had, this was clearly the best, and users loved it too. But there was one major risk. Netflix didn't own any of the content, they were just licensing it, which put Netflix in a vulnerable position if license holders ever changed their minds and didn't renew their agreements with Netflix. Now, in the past, when Netflix rented out physical DVDs, once Netflix had bought the DVD, they could do what they wanted with it. But with streaming content, if license holders didn't renew the deal, Netflix would lose that content from its streaming service. The solution was clear, but scary. Original content. Netflix making their own shows and movies. Reed had always been open to the idea of producing original content. In fact, you may remember he actually tried to buy the rights to some small films back when Netflix was solely just a DVD rental service. But the issue had always been that they just didn't have enough scale for creating their own content to be worth it. Because whether you have 10,000 subscribers or 10 million, the price of buying a film is the same. However, in the few years after Netflix started their streaming service and Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy, Netflix subscribers and revenue had grown significantly every year, especially once Netflix started expanding internationally, and so now it seemed like they could potentially afford to try and make their own content. In 2011, a man named Ted Sarandos had the role of Chief Content Officer and was tasked with finding the first original show for Netflix to produce. And after months of searching, he returned with good news and bad news. The good news was that Ted had found a show called House of Cards that he felt had massive potential to be a huge hit. The bad news was that for Netflix to produce it, it would cost them around $100 million. That's because it was a show that needed a big budget to make, and also lots of production companies wanted the rights to it, including HBO. Now, for context, for Netflix to actually make a profit on this $100 million investment, they basically needed to bring in around 500,000 new users who stayed subscribed for 2 years each. So buying the rights to this show was an extremely risky and expensive gamble that Reed would later call a bet the company moment. But Netflix took the plunge and bought the rights to House of Cards, and they began creating it as their first original TV show. The show premiered in 2013 and was a massive success, becoming the first online-only TV series to receive an Emmy nomination. It was clear to Netflix they needed to double down on this new strategy of producing original content. The main reason for this was that Netflix now had other competitors in the streaming market, like Hulu, and so other content producers had stopped giving Netflix an exclusive license to stream their movies and TV shows. Netflix knew more streaming services would soon pop up as well, and that they needed a way to differentiate themselves, and having exclusive shows that nobody else had was the best way to do that. Netflix also realized that even though creating original content was expensive up front, in the long run, paying licensing fees every year may actually end up being more expensive, especially as some studios were starting to charge Netflix higher and higher licensing fees once they saw how much money Netflix was making. So Netflix dived into original content more and more, every year upping their production budget further. They initially focused more on TV shows, as they're typically a bit cheaper to make, but also they figured if people got hooked on a show, they stay subscribed to Netflix for future seasons. But soon, Netflix was throwing money at all kinds of different content, including some big budget movies. In fact, it even became a bit of a joke just how much content Netflix seemed to be making.
Netflix, you're greenlit. Who am I speaking with?
Yes, hello. We have an idea for a show that we think would be great for Netflix.
Okay, great. Would you like a pilot or just go straight to an order of 6 episodes?
When Netflix first started spending hundreds of millions on original content, many questioned the strategy. But as more and more streaming services later started competing with them and pulled their own content off Netflix, it became clearer that making original content was clearly Netflix's best option. And to be fair to Netflix, they're outspending competitors, outspending Hollywood studios, and in 2021 alone, they spent $17 billion on content. And Veep just wants to keep upping the amount Netflix spends on originals even further.
You don't think you're going to ultimately have to take down spend?
No, we plan on taking spend up quite a bit.
As a result, Netflix has won countless awards and even become the first streaming platform to get an Oscar nomination for one of its originals.
No one goes to cinema, no one really watches network TV. Everyone's watching Netflix. This show should just be me coming out going, well done Netflix, you win everything. Good night. But no, we've got to drag it out for 3 hours.
Netflix also had an advantage in terms of the amount of data they had about their users and their viewing preferences, which helped them make decisions of what type of shows to make and what to renew. Another advantage for Netflix was that unlike traditional networks, who typically operate in a single country, Netflix had users in pretty much every country in the world. So when they produced a hit show in one country, they could easily distribute it to their subscribers in other countries too. For example, we saw this with the Korean show Squid Game, which became a massive hit all around the world.
We have a show, Quicksilver, out of Sweden, crime thriller. Did super well in Sweden. Of course, you expect that, hope for that. But it did 15 times more viewing in the rest of the world cumulatively than it did Sweden. So we've got this huge opportunity there.
And so for a while, it seemed like Netflix was going to be a hugely dominant force in entertainment. Of course, in present day, Netflix's position looks much less certain, but we'll get to that soon. What I think is really interesting though, is that the company has managed to completely pivot their business model multiple times. We can see here the 4 main stages of Netflix. Number 1 was selling and renting DVDs by mail. Number 2 was their DVD subscription service. Number 3 was their video-on-demand streaming platform. And number 4 is content production. What's crazy to me is that Netflix is older than Google. This is a company that's been around a long time and genuinely had a huge impact on multiple industries. Not to mention the fact they quite literally changed the way we consume shows, since they pretty much pioneered the concept of binge watching by dropping a whole series of a new show all at once. So the real question we need to ask is how have they managed to innovate and stay relevant for so long? And the answer was not what I expected. Before we get to the next part of the video, I want to ask you a very quick favor. If you're enjoying this video so far, and you want to see more mini-movies and documentaries like this, please consider turning on the notification bell so YouTube tells you about my future videos. By the way, my name's John, but the channel is called Magnate's Media because a magnate is someone with a lot of wealth, influence, and business success. And those are the 3 main themes of this channel. I've got some big plans in the works, so I'd love it if you turn on notifications and join me for the ride. Thank you for your support, you are a legend, and now let's get back to the story. When you first join Netflix as an employee, you are shown a short presentation that includes the following sentence. Adequate performance gets a generous severance package. In other words, if you're just average at your job, you'll quickly get fired. This is because Netflix's CEO, Reed Hastings, strongly believes in the concept of talent density. To illustrate what this means, we need to look at a famous experiment, where students were divided into random teams to complete various tasks. However, some teams included a paid actor who was told to be either lazy or overly negative about the work and not take the task seriously. In dozens of trials repeated over several months, the group with the underperformer did worse than the other teams by 30 to 40%. Meaning, just having one team member who wasn't pulling their weight massively affected the performance of the rest of the group as well. It was like their poor performance was contagious and brought down the enthusiasm and quality of work for everyone in the team. If you've ever been in a group project at school or work, you may have experienced this yourself. And if you haven't experienced it, maybe you were the underperformer in the group. However, the reverse is true too. If you have a team full of only top performers, a team of talented people, all equally wanting to work hard and do well and achieve incredible results, it brings out the best in each other. This is why Netflix are quite ruthless about firing anyone who isn't an A player, because otherwise they bring down the performance level of everyone else. Netflix also believes in the rockstar principle, which is that top employees don't just outperform other people by maybe twice as much. It's more like the top talent outperforms average employees by 10 times or maybe 100 times as much. So Netflix believes one absolute rockstar employee who's amazing at their job is better than 10 people who are just decent at their job. Quality over quantity. So in order to try and attract that top talent, Netflix say they pay top of market salaries. Basically, they'll pay a lot of money to get what they believe are the absolute best candidates available. They'd rather have less employees, but higher average talent per employee. Or in other words, higher talent density. This then has the added bonus that the top employees generally want to work with other top employees. So once you build a culture like this, it automatically attracts other top performers. However, Netflix is very open about the fact they're a team, not a family.
So the analogy we use a lot is professional sports. You know, if you want to have world-class and World Cup winning teams, you need to assemble an amazing group of people at every position.
Basically, they'll work together to support each other, but ultimately, Netflix wants the best people in each position within the business. Meaning, if you stop performing well, you could be replaced. You're fighting for your position. But Netflix believes the top performers want that, to be on a winning top-level team. Now, obviously, every company wants the best employees. So, how do Netflix actually try to enforce this? Well, they have something called the keeper tests.
What's different about Netflix is the keeper test. And what we say is for managers is, would their people, if they were leaving to go to another company, would we try to change their mind to keep them? We would fight to keep them. And if we fight to keep them, great. If there's someone that you wouldn't fight to keep, we say give them a generous severance package, 4 to 6 months of compensation now, and let them go find a place that's a better match. And let us find a great new talent that may be one of those great people.
Basically, if a manager wouldn't mind if an employee on their team left the company, then they should fire them. As brutal as that may sound, Netflix offer a minimum of 4 months severance pay. So even if the employee hasn't been there long, they'll still get a big payout if they're fired. The reason for this is firstly so Netflix don't get any lawsuits for unfair dismissal. Secondly, so managers don't feel guilty about firing people if it's not working out, as they know the employee will get a big payoff. However, another reason why Netflix has tried to develop this culture of only keeping high performers is that then you can have less. Reed has a saying that if you dummy-proof things too much, you end up with only dummies working for you, and that you stifle creativity and innovation if people don't have freedom. Netflix also shares all of their internal plans and secrets with literally every employee at the company, even if they're a brand new low-ranking employee. This is very different to most companies where information is segregated and you only know what you need to know to do your specific job. But Netflix tells all their employees about their long-term plans, and they even share their quarterly financial results with all their staff before they're released publicly, which very few companies do because it would be disastrous if that information got leaked early. But Netflix does it as a sign of trust in their employees. However, perhaps the weirdest part of all of the Netflix culture is their policy of radical honesty, where everyone is encouraged to be brutally honest with their feedback and suggestions to other employees. And this is true for lower level employees too. They're encouraged much to say if they disagree with their team leader or any of the managers in the company. Even Reed himself, as the CEO, asked employees to critique him with constructive criticism so he can try to improve his own performance. There was even one incident where an employee told him in the politest way possible he needed to shower, as Reed had been working so hard he'd stayed at the office overnight and was starting to smell. Now, if you're thinking, wait, doesn't this culture create some problems? Then the answer is yes, it absolutely does. Firstly, giving employees so much freedom over spending Netflix's money has obviously led to some abuse. Like, there was one employee who spent over $100,000 on personal travel trips using his company credit card before someone realized. Secondly, the unlimited vacation policy sometimes leads to people being afraid to take any vacation at all, since they don't have a specific allotted amount of vacation days. Plus, when you consider the high performance Netflix demands and how they'll fire you for average work, it's understandable people are reluctant to take time off. Thirdly, sharing all that inside information with employees has led to internal company secrets getting leaked to the public and competitors. And their radical honesty policy has undoubtedly led to arguments. There was even an article about Netflix that talked about a culture of fear. The headline said, employees describe a climate of fear where peers are encouraged to rate each other, emails are sent slamming former workers, and managers feel under constant pressure to fire people. It sounds brutal, right? Well, the truth is, the Netflix culture would suit some people, but not others. However, Reed's core belief is that if you have really amazingly talented employees and you give them this level of responsibility and freedom, generally the gains outweigh the losses. Reed uses the analogy of a jazz band, where the musicians all know the overall structure of the song, but there's freedom for improvisation and spontaneity from individuals, where the musicians can riff off one another. Ultimately, Reed believes in business their biggest risk isn't making a mistake, it's failing to attract top talent, invent new products, or change direction quickly enough when the situation changes. He'd rather try things and they fail, rather than not innovate enough at all. And looking at what happened with Blockbuster, maybe he's onto something there. However, if I was making individuals, where the musicians can riff off one another. Ultimately, Reed believes in business their biggest risk isn't making a mistake, it's failing to attract top talent, invent
Tesla has never been good at building cars. Even before deliveries began, forums sparked up with concerns over the Tesla Roadster's panel alignment. Since then, as the cars hit the road and the company shot skyward, complaints about Model S's with windows that leak when it rains or mispositioned wire looms, and Model X's with drooping window seals or mysterious rattles when reaching speed have become commonplace. When the Model 3 started rolling off the lots, the feedback was more of the same. The car was exciting and mostly great, it just wasn't built great. Condensation fogged headlights, interior paneling popped off, exterior pieces were misaligned, paint jobs were inconsistent, and some seals failed to hold while others were drowned in adhesives. No matter the year, the model, or the factory of origin, buying a new Tesla has always been a roll of the dice where the bad rolls have been laid out on Twitter. Of course, social media posts are inherently anecdotal in nature, but Tesla's struggle to deliver a consistent product goes beyond annual reliability rankings, where Tesla placed second to last in 2021 and 19th out of 24 manufacturers in 2022. The company simply struggles to deliver consistent, reliable, well-assembled vehicles. It's been a problem since the beginning, it's been a problem the company has sought to address time and time again, and it's been a problem that's taken different forms over the years. But it's not a problem Tesla's tried to hide. It's not a deep, dirty secret, but rather something that comes with the territory. Tesla has lacked the consistency of legacy car manufacturers. After all, they aren't a legacy car manufacturer. They're the plucky upstart, the company that's been bent on changing the world, the company that's moved fast and broke stuff. The side effect's been inconsistent products, but from the perspective of the consumer, what's one minor rattle or subtle paint problem when you're leading the charge towards a brighter, bolder, greener, gasless future? Right? But even after building the car, Tesla struggles with a step that customers never even knew could go sideways. If Tesla's bad at building cars, then they're at best hit or miss when it comes to delivering them. At certain points, when favorable conditions exist, Tesla delivery has been more than punctual. In the case of the Model Y at the end of 2022, slack in demand and increasing production capacity at Tesla's Texas factory shrunk delivery times to a matter of weeks. But for every November of 2022, there's a September of 2018. By the middle of that year, long after Tesla announced the arrival of the sedan-style Model 3, and after some 450,000 eager customers had put down deposits for the vehicle, the company was way behind, only having delivered around 10,000. By September, Musk described Tesla's predicament as delivery logistics hell. But to be at the bleeding edge of what feels like a revolutionary purchase, Tesla buyers are generally willing to wait. In fact, as the delivery problems mounted, some of the brand's most loyal offered to volunteer at delivery centers and help with customer service. What Tesla customers didn't like, however, was being left to wait in the dark, or worse, feeling misled. Some of those who were once happy to wait showed up at delivery centers for their new Model 3 only to find that there wasn't one waiting for them, or that it had been damaged in shipping, or that they had been mistaken for someone with the same first name. Others excitedly waited for their delivery deadline only to receive a call just days before that there would be another delay. Some of the scorn demanded refunds, others went to Twitter searching for answers when they couldn't get through to anyone at Tesla. Many let the experience shape their opinion. Now, ultimately, Tesla pulled itself out of the hole it dug, and the exasperated early adopters finally got their cars. But the problems persist. Buyers still check in on their delivery date only to see that it's been bumped back a month. Customers save their "get ready for delivery in 2 weeks" notices only for them to start piling up in their inbox, and the frustrated still ask what's going on over Twitter because that's the easiest means of getting an answer. Frustrations have also expanded beyond the labyrinth-like buying process too. Not only are Teslas more numerous than ever, some of them are now a decade old. As it's become common to see Teslas almost anywhere nationwide, the company only established 163 service centers spread across the US. That means if you own a Tesla in Flagstaff, Arizona, you're about 150 miles or 240 kilometers away from anyone certified to work on your vehicle. If you live in Wichita, Kansas, your nearest options are all a state border and a 2-hour drive away. Making things more difficult, service centers are low on loaner vehicles, so getting from Phoenix back to Flagstaff or Kansas City to Wichita requires a creative application of Tesla-supplied Uber vouchers. Even as the company continues to expand its mobile service fleet, the growth of the service team is being outpaced by the total number of Teslas hitting American roads. So, whether stationary or mobile, Tesla's service capabilities are being overwhelmed. What were once appointment wait times numbered in days become numbered in weeks that are increasingly liable to cancel. Tesla's driving functions are reliable, an inherent plus of the electric drivetrain, but everything else is clearly not. So facing inconvenient service, Tesla owners just wait, listening to their rattles, air tones, and wind squeals for years, feeling increasingly fleeced by the company that demanded luxury car prices for something that looks nice but feels cheap. So the company is burning through their existing customers, the group most likely to buy future Teslas, which is certainly a problem, but perhaps even more concerningly, it's tough to understand what they're doing to attract new ones. It hardly seems like it's by offering them a deal. Compare a Model Y long range to a Mustang Mach-E Premium, and it has slightly, though it's probably something else. Maybe it's by offering something different. Maybe they're trying to entice the market by offering a vehicle that nobody else does, but everybody else wants. Well, while unique in their minimalistic design, the broad strokes of Tesla's product lineup is uniquely basic. Mid-market sedan, mid-market SUV, upmarket sedan, upmarket SUV. That's it. Bafflingly, Tesla had the opportunity to differentiate its product lineup, and it recognized how massive an opportunity doing so would be, but then just didn't. Year after year after year, it's never been a surprise who will top the list of American vehicle sales. It's the Ford F-Series. It's always the Ford F-Series. In Kansas or Texas or Louisiana, the pickup represents about 1 of every 20 new car sales. In Wyoming, it's more like 1 in 16, while up in Montana, 1 in every 13 new cars is a Ford F-150. These pickups are just so popular. The only vehicles that even come close to their sales figures are close equivalents like the Chevy Silverado or Ram trucks. Americans just love their pickups, and the market is uniquely consolidated compared to other vehicle types. So recognizing this, a decade ago, Musk announced Tesla would go after the F-150 with an EV equivalent. a prime opportunity to disrupt a vulnerable market. 6 years after that, Ford announced they'd just build an electric version of the F-150. 3 years after that, it entered production, and today, there are thousands of F-150 Lightnings on the road and exactly 0 Tesla pickups. Adding to the woes, the F-150 was merely joining a market already kicked off by the Hummer EV and Rivian R1T, meaning there are 3 manufacturers already in production, working out the kinks, ramping up to massive scale in 2023. Even the earliest possible Tesla Cybertruck production date will therefore compete against at least 3 major entrenched mature competitors. Plenty have criticized far more about the Tesla Cybertruck concept, speculating that consumers will shirk its audacious shape, that regulators will reject its innovative design, that component costs will make its purported price impossible. That could all be true. In fact, considering Musk himself admitted the company did 0 market research for the vehicle, it more likely is, but perhaps the most crucial critique of the vehicle is the fact that it doesn't yet exist. First moves matter. Consumers can read a review about the Lightning, take a Rivian on a test drive, even walk up to a dealer and buy a Hummer EV today, while the Cybertruck is relegated to the More tab of Tesla's website, featuring absolutely 0 specifications or even prices. Merely the option to leave a $100 refundable deposit for the chance to get in line to buy the vehicle once it finally exists. While the devoted few will maintain that the Cybertruck will change the game, it would have been far easier for Tesla to define the game years ago when it first recognized the opportunity that it later squandered. But maybe they're not trying to compete on cost, and maybe they're not trying to compete on differentiation. Maybe China is the answer. Tesla believed that enough to cozy up with the CCP and open a factory in Shanghai, largely to produce cars for the Chinese market itself, and this has gone decently. They sell tens of thousands of vehicles to the country each month, accounting for about 40% of the company's total sales, but in the largest EV market in the world, Tesla is not the largest EV manufacturer. That's BYD. No company globally produces more EVs. They are now bigger than Tesla from a volume perspective, but that's not the most staggering part. This is. Their growth rate is ferocious. And here's Tesla's. It is famously difficult for Western companies to sustainably compete in the Chinese market. Amazon failed, Uber failed, Airbnb failed, Google, Best Buy, Home Depot, Macy's, eBay, Yahoo. It's harder to find one that did work than didn't. China is just such an immense market that there are equivalent quality alternatives to Western products that are better suited to the needs and wants of Chinese consumers, which leave Western managers dumbfounded. They don't understand why they're getting beat, and that's the point. They don't understand. Chinese companies are able to fulfill the tiny, unique, nuanced preferences of Chinese consumers better than foreigners. So in Tesla's case, inevitably, their vehicles are going to be worse for Chinese consumers than the homegrown alternatives, and unless they succeed where almost all their equivalents have failed, they just won't be able to understand why. Foreign-made vehicles do sell in China, but primarily as luxury goods, selling Americanness or Germanness or Britishness as a brand, rather than competing on the merits of the vehicles themselves. That means that China can be a massive market for Tesla, but they'll struggle to go mass market. They'll always be a secondary player, meaning it might not be a market worth betting. So maybe it's not price, not differentiation, not market, not any of the traditional ways that companies gain an edge. Maybe it's innovation. In 2016, after being dropped by its previous autonomous partner over safety concerns, Tesla charted a new vision for full self-driving and quickly started selling a software package referred to as full self-driving for $3,000 soon after. But full self-driving didn't exactly mean full self-driving. Rather, it meant adaptive cruise control, auto steer, auto lane change, auto park, traffic light recognition, and a few other driver assist features depending on street type, each requiring driver intervention to manage and monitor, but not full self-driving. Not yet. Musk said that would probably come in 2017 when the vehicle would be able to drive coast to coast from LA to New York without a single human touch, not even for charging. That didn't happen. It also didn't happen in 2018 or 2019 or 2020 or 2021 either, and all the while, Musk and Tesla salespeople, following orders, pressured consumers into paying for the software upgrade, telling them to get it now before the price would rise, which it did, all the way to $15,000, despite the fact that, still today, Teslas are not capable of full self-driving. There's now an open beta for something closer to true full self-driving, but far away from that vision of touchless trips from LA to New York. It's erratic and imperfect in a way that requires a significant degree of human oversight and intervention to avoid becoming a liability on the road. Arguably, right now, it's more trouble than it's worth, but the issue for Tesla is less about whether its full self-driving works. It's that, for the better part of a decade now, it's sold consumers on the promise, failed to deliver, made new promises, failed to deliver, and repeat and repeat and repeat. The type of autonomous that was promised will be game-changing, so the sales pitch worked, but once again, the company has burned through its most promising customer base, existing owners. Tesla is facing class action lawsuits and Department of Justice investigations over its autonomous program, but even if those lead to nothing, even if it's navigated strategic ambiguity properly to legally mislead, the reputation Tesla has earned as a company whose word means nothing has to have an impact. Okay, so not price, not differentiation, not market, not innovation. Maybe it's Musk? Maybe his cult of personality is so strong that consumers will buy the vehicle specifically because it's his? Maybe he's the brand. In fact, maybe he's deliberately calibrating his public image to appeal to a demographic less likely to buy an EV, strengthening that fledgling consumer segment for the company. Well, if that's what's happening, it's not working. According to a Morning Consult survey, Tesla's net favorability among Democrats plummeted 20.3% between October and November 2022 when Musk purchased Twitter and started making a series of controversial changes and statements. Among Republicans, the favorability actually increased, but only by 3.9%. That's not nearly enough to make the move worth it for Tesla because Republicans don't buy EVs. Only 25% of them said they would even consider them in the next year, while 44% of Democrats did. So, if you make the very simple assumption that a company's favorability correlates to its shares, Elon Musk's actions objectively reduced Tesla's sales and took money out of its shareholders' pockets. While Musk might have been the visionary behind the disruptive behemoth, today he's a liability, an increasingly unlikable loose cannon who can't seem to separate his image from the company's. There's not a whole lot left to set Tesla apart. This isn't an existential threat. It's not like Tesla is going to suddenly start fading away. It's still a tremendously large, profitable company with an incredibly passionate fan base who will find ways to defend any and all accusations of weakness, and there are clearly hordes of people that love their vehicles. But people are learning to love other EVs, too. Rife with quality issues, poor customer service, broken promises, and a generally amateur feeling, consumers are taking the safe route and increasingly opting for the options put forward by the incumbent manufacturers. Meanwhile, startups like Rivian are looking at Tesla's shortcomings and addressing them, offering better quality, better customer support, and better communication. So Tesla's just sitting there, preying on their downfall, letting market share just march out the front door. Tesla's competitive advantage was built on scarcity. For most of their history, they were the only legitimate horse in the EV race. Consumers were willing to deal with bad quality and service and communication because it's the price you have to pay to get something groundbreaking. But Tesla is no longer a startup. It's one of the largest companies in the world, yet it still operates like a startup. Meanwhile, Ford, GM, Volkswagen, Rivian, and others are acting as the adults in the company culture is notoriously difficult to change, and that difficulty mounts the larger a company becomes. So when you have something as massive as Tesla that is still in startup mentality, it is really hard to understand how that will change. Tesla's fumble is what it could have been. They had a decade head start on the burgeoning industry that, within decades, will just be known as the auto industry. They could have been the auto manufacturer. They could have been a giant. They could have been Ford, GM, and Chrysler. But instead, the other EVs are here. They're popular, they're competitive, and while Tesla keeps making making excuses, breaking promises, burning bridges, and swinging wildly for the fences to keep the hope alive, everyone else is slowly and methodically chipping away. Maybe Tesla succeeds. Maybe it's able to use its dominant market position to maintain its dominant market position, but what's sure is that it's going to be a whole lot harder than it had to be. This day of mature mainstream EV market competition was always going to come, and yet Tesla did little to prepare and did lots to open up pathways for their competitors to eat into their market share. So if in 10 years Tesla is anything but the biggest car manufacturer in America, the explanation will likely be less about what it does over the next decade and more about what it didn't do in the years it squandered leading up to today. This video sponsor is Ren, and some of you may be surprised by that because Ren is a carbon offsetting provider. Last year I made a video about how the carbon offsetting market is a scam because it incentivizes ineffective offsets that actually increase overall carbon output. The video got a ton of attention, even making it onto Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, meaning it made it all the way to the people behind Ren. Their whole idea is to be a carbon offsetting provider that has the greatest chance of actually working. Now, I want to be careful to say that I'm not encouraging anyone to carbon offset. I think that's really down to you because at the end of the day, carbon offsetting is not going to solve climate change. Only top-down legislative action can do that. But if you, like me, want to do everything possible to reduce the likelihood that your life is perpetuating the problem, then Ren is probably the best offsetter to use. Before even considering taking a sponsorship, I got on the phone with their CEO, had a project evaluation, and a few others from their leadership team, and grilled them with questions for more than an hour about how their project evaluation process works, why they pick the projects they do, what they do if a project goes wrong, and they had really thoughtful, detailed, upfront answers to everything. Inherently, there's always going to be uncertainty when creating a carbon offsetting program, but Ren has worked to reduce the risks that uncertainty poses by only allowing Offset to be a portfolio of their 8 active projects, meaning if one fails, the others are still there to keep the average stable. It also means they're able to fund projects that certainly have an impact, but are tougher to quantify. For example, their Carbon 180 project funds political advocacy for other projects and policies that will curb carbon emissions, which could be incredibly effective, but is obviously high risk and tough to quantify compared to a more traditional project like producing and distributing clean cooking fuel to refugees. I can't possibly explain all the methods Ren uses to assure the effectiveness of what they do, but they do a really impressive job of explaining it in an understandable way, so I'd encourage you to dig into their website until you're satisfied. So, if you want to offset your carbon footprint, make sure it's effective and do it with Ren. The first 100 people who sign up by clicking the button on screen or in the link in the description will have 10 extra trees planted in their name.
The following is a conversation.
Will have 10 extra trees planted in their name.
Conversation.
You something. Is this about the streaming service? Or is it about you?
They are one and the same. You're leaving?
I shouldn't have come in at all. I'm not going to risk getting sick just because our prized feminist morning anchor was horny for Chester the molester. Not blaming you. You didn't know.
Do you know everyone who came into contact with him?
It's going to be everybody on my show, basically. They're all waiting to hear what to do.
I mean, if Alex even has COVID, which I'd like to point out is statistically unlikely.
We've got people threatening advertiser boycotts. I'm not sure what to say to anyone because it's not like it's just one thing she can apologize for.
Well, after speaking with Doug, it looks like Alex is going to leave on her own. So, oh, actually, can I have everyone hold on? Hi, Alex. Is your head feeling any better?
You know what? Thank you. I'm okay. I'm home. But I tested positive for COVID.
Get everyone home, all of us. Go.
Did you hear what I said?
I'm so sorry. That's awful. Is there anything we can do?
I don't think so. But do I have to announce this?
We need to let people know that they've been exposed, but we won't tell them that it was you. I hope you feel better.
And also,
I gotta go, but we need tests for everyone. See what's even possible right now. Bella, hey, we have to make it before the graduate meeting.
How can we go on?
Hi, everyone. Come together, can we please? Thank you. Quickly. Yep. Thank you so much. Quickly. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. You should have received an email.
Someone's got COVID?
Yes, unfortunately. Oh my God.
Oh, hell. Does someone have COVID or does Alex have COVID?
We can't divulge private employee health information.
Alex wasn't in there. Bradley wasn't in today. It's not Bradley. Did she really have a head injury or was she hospitalized because of COVID? Or did she hit her head because of COVID?
I can't believe she would do this.
It's pretty that care.
It's not careless. It's malicious.
Okay, you're not asking very strange questions. You don't want to wonder if Alex is going to be okay.
Did you know?
Guys. I see that you have strong emotions, but for your own safety and the safety of everybody who wasn't around this person, I need for you to go home. You don't yet know enough about how this thing is transmitted. Those of you who can work remotely, that's what we'll do.
So what does that mean for me?
We're figuring that out. We will have a show, but we don't have all the answers yet. But this is really about your health. So for now, I need for you to go straight home and wait for further instructions. Okay?
Hey, Daniel, I need you a second. You're going to anchor TMS for the next few weeks from home, at least the first.
No, I'm not. Is Alex fine?
Daniel, I can't speak to that.
Well, we're waiting for someone to die first. Actually, let me put it this way. If Alex wasn't a pretty white woman...
Daniel, look at me. Look at me.
I see you, Stella. I get that you would like for me to pick up the pieces for you because everybody else fucked you over. But right now, I got to take care of my own. My grandfather is in a home. He's not safe. I need to go get him out of there and bring him back with me. I got to find a way to get to LA and make sure I don't catch this thing. Which means no planes, no hotels. Do you get the picture? And good luck to me, a black man sleeping in his car. But I got to do it.
We can help. Let us help. But I need you here. Daniel, I know you felt sidelined, and that's not okay. Show us how wrong we were.
If you don't know already, then you're never going to know. And I'm done trying to prove myself to you.
It's not about proving yourself. You're in China, use your expertise. This could be one of the biggest news stories of our lifetime. You're the right person at the right place. People need the news right now.
This is the news, okay? Everyone's carrying around the news. We're just the news for people who have too much time.
Daniel, you can't just leave. You're in contract.
So everybody else can just do what they want, but I'm under contract? Well, not anymore. I quit. And by the way, my grandpa thinks I do have the it factor.
He didn't.
Does Corey know about Alex?
Shit.
Would you consider upping the trial to 6 months?
What about 6 years, Glenn? Kyle, what's the rest of my day?
Last thing you have is Paula. Sorry, I can't pronounce her last name in an hour.
Who?
Filmmaker. It's a favorite of Alex.
I don't have time to do Alex a favor. Just apologize, get a reel, take a look at it, let me know if it's any good.
Got it.
Thank you.
Corey, I think he did something special, but we knew another streaming service was going to be a tough sell.
What is your point, Glenn?
Maybe we should push. People are going to be glued to the news. News is not UBA plus. Hey, Stella,
What up?
you ready for the news on the spot?
I was born ready. Excited. For plus?
Good.
Yeah.
We should talk about doing a collab on a docuseries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. version 3 of our response to Alex Facebooks us again.
Who else knows?
Mia knows. HR knows.
All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that. We're gonna do the contact tracing.
What?
Is that something we do, or is it official?
What's a contact trace? No one knows what that means. I don't know. Trying to do all this by myself and nobody knows anything.
Stella, we need to sit on this news as long as we can.
Yeah. Okay. I told the whole staff and crew that we had a positive test. Everybody assumed. The whole world will assume.
Reasonable doubt. She got back from Italy almost 14 days ago. If she got it there, breakfast school. But if she got it here, then she is an unlucky, grieving woman who deserves our sympathy.
Gary, have my dog give you Rosie? What are things?
But it's ready to go, right? There cannot be any outages on launch day. Yeah, okay, we have to figure it out later. I'm signing off for tonight. I'll make anything comes up. Okay. Then we don't have to. Put your phone or something right next to you. You can just leave it open. Really? Hi.
I don't know if I'm gonna get through this too. I really hope I get through this.
Well, you need something to focus on, okay? Can you focus on something else?
Do I focus on my eyes being on fire or then I'm getting canceled? This is all I got.
Alex, if I didn't cancel you, you've at least got a chance with everyone else.
Did they fire me?
Didn't you fire a person with COVID?
They infected everybody. I mean, oh my God, who the hell am I?
Alex, do not go down this road, okay? I promise you. You're just gonna end up back at original sin. Look, just close your eyes.
No,
It's gonna be okay.
I don't think I'll be able to close my eyes, but I'll try.
All we can do is try. I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here.
Yes, I know. Detective Grant, I get that, but isn't the first 48 hours the most important?
Sure, it's obviously dead. Yes, the trail can go cold after a few days. But he's a person, not a statistic.
Not yet. Thanks a lot for your time.
Clearly enough will happen that all countries can still change the course of this pandemic. Some countries are struggling with a lack of capacity. Some countries are struggling with a lack of resources. Some countries are struggling with a lack of results. And that is your 8 o'clock news update for Wednesday, March 11th, 2020. I never thought that would be something I'd ever have to say. The WHO declares a pandemic. And today finally marks the launch of UVA Plus, all your favorite shows and stars, new and classic, coming to you this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Hey, Thor, I gotta talk to you about something. Sorry. You want me to reach for the sky? No, I want to pitch you a show with the stupid bandana on my face. Can we schedule this? It's kind of time sensitive. I kind of got a lot of time sensitive stuff going on right now, Buckaroo. There's no instruction manual for doing what I'm doing during a pandemic. Yeah, nobody knows what's going on or how to handle it. That's what this show is. All right, what is the show? Look, a few hundred people have COVID. A lot more people are going to get it. What could be more informative or more comforting to a scared nation than watching Alex get through it? What if she doesn't get through it? Of course she's going to get through it. So I'm guessing this is a limited run series either way. I mean, she's sick. Now's the time. And you know what? It's already being politicized, and Alex appeals to everyone. Alex is kind of persona non grata, Jill. No. Alex is everyman. She doesn't always get it right, but at her core, she's a good person, and she wants to get it right before it's all over. What is more relatable than that? This makes it real. Someone that they know has COVID. Just give her an hour on UBANC tonight. She needs this. We're not telling people she has COVID. We're trying to protect her. What are we protecting? She's got COVID. money is already spent on Alex. Stella, let's try to get something out of it.
Corey, you're going to lose sponsors if you put Alex on movie AMC. It doesn't matter if it's for some altruistic reason like informing the country about COVID.
Okay, it'll go on UVA Plus then. No sponsors to lose there.
You're not worried about losing subscribers?
Nobody is subscribed. So I'll put on what I want to put on. It's Corey Plus.
I subscribe. Anyway.
Kyle, we got one, okay? Put it on the big board. Thanks, Stella.
Lizzie? Lizzie, you cannot be in here.
It's Jeff. Why do you keep thinking I'm a woman?
Oh my God, Chip. I have COVID. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Alex, it's okay. I have COVID. Sorry, I should have called first. No. It's okay. No, seriously, no. No, this is fine. I actually don't feel that bad. Okay, seriously, I might be asymptomatic. Okay?
Oh, I hope so. I so hope so.
I thought that's what it was for me too at first, but then it just this. It's so awful.
No, we're gonna help each other through.
Yes, that sounds really good. I also have some good news. The network wants you on the air tonight. Are you joking? I'm sick. I know, that's the point. So people can just watch me suffer? I mean, sort of, but without the sadistic overtones.
I'm barely hanging on right now. Like I'm barely hanging on.
I understand, but that is the point. You need something to focus on. Like we discussed, Alex. This is it. Alex, I know this show will matter, okay? Hopefully show people they need to take it seriously, keep them from getting it, or if they do, at least help them get through. We can help people. I know, it sounds a little preachy, and I don't like doing the whole rah-rah thing. It's okay. Save some for the big show.
That's funny.
All right. Okay. You're gonna have to leave at 2:15 to ring the bell at the stock exchange at 3. You've got a phone with wired at 6. Your car's picking you up after that. What are you looking for? Before the event. Denzel's office calls. You left it here.
Excuse me.
Can I help you?
You canceled our meeting yesterday? I spoke to your assistant. He was very rude.
I just said.
No, he said you had to cancel and to send a sample of my work. I said, I cannot do that, but I still would like a meeting before I go back to Italy. He said, no, you're too busy to call when I'm back in New York. So I drove to New Jersey and I came back.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm on my way out.
I brought a sample.
I thought you said you didn't have a sample. Yeah, that's what she said. She said.
No, I said I didn't have a sample. I could leave. I have to stay and watch with you.
He has to leave.
Please, just watch 2 minutes.
Do you want me to get security?
Oh, shut up. Alex Levy got me a meeting with the CEO. I never even had a meeting. So now I want you to watch my work. Look, I need you to watch this because it's really good. I watched it again last night and I was blown away.
You were blown away.
You're damn right.
And why can't you just leave it?
I can't let it out of my hands, I promise.
had an audience of 6 million. The last 2 weeks of his life, he had an audience of 1.
I didn't want to be this person. I didn't want to hurt anyone. I didn't want people to think I was the kind of person that could hurt someone. And now one of those women is dead. Hannah Schoenfeld.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Well, you know, bad.
So sorry to hear that.
It's okay. To step up from dead. Actually, not when I'm home.
Okay.
I wanted to say thank you. I asked you to keep your distance from me, and you certainly did not do that. It means a lot.
You can't worry about that right now. You need to focus on getting better.
Why did you do it? Because I gave you the job?
No, Alex. I did it because it's true. And relationships don't have to be transactional. I did it because we're friends. Not good ones, but important ones. But good ones isn't out of the question.
I'd like that. I'll get better. You did good for me.
Please, I'm just as disappointing as everybody else.
What do you mean?
Well, I dumped my brother off at rehab. I told him that I was done with him. He wasn't going in, and I said, go in if you want to, but I left him there, and now he's missing.
Well, where is he?
Alex, I don't know. He's missing. He came back to the city a couple of days ago, and I just don't know where he is, and I don't even know if he's alive.
I've been off social for obvious reasons, but do you need me to retweet anything?
I didn't post about it.
What?
I know. It's just, well, you weren't there that night. My brother's having a really hard time, and it's my family.
Oh, come on, Bradley, stop it. Families are fucked up. You know why they're fucked up? Because they're full of people. If you want to cut somebody off, then just cut them off and be done with it. But if that is not an option, then you've got to own them. I mean, I think it's why you stuck up for me, because you're owning me and my shit. Don't let your shame of what other people think run your life.
I know. You're right.
I'm always right. Yeah. I'm right. All right, I have to go. I just wore myself out yelling at you.
Well, thank you for using your energy for that. And listen, I'm not gonna stop calling you. I'm really worried about you.
Thank you.
My brother, Hal Jackson, has been missing for 2 days. He was last seen somewhere in New York City. The New York police know, they're aware. I've been looking in all the hospitals, and I haven't been able to find him. I've just been exhausting myself trying to look for him, and it's really particularly concerning because of everything that's going on in the world right now. His safety is just the most important thing to me right now. This is what he looks like. If you see him, will you tell him that I love him and I just want him to come back safe? Or you can also DM me if you have any information. There's a hotline below. Just please let me know if anybody has seen him. He's a really good person. He's just really struggling right now, so I need your help. And I really hope to see you soon at the morning show again. And everybody to stay safe. Please. Everybody.
Oh, this really is very good.
That's what I said, isn't it?
You did. Congratulations.
I just want a job. Documentary, doing news pieces. I'm open.
I understand. I think there may be an audience for your documentary.
I'm sure there is. But I'm not going to betray him.
I do not think you would be betraying him.
I promised him. I could have done something that good before I met him, but I didn't. So I owe him.
Corey, Kyle, I need another minute.
Okay, but you have to go back to the Arch of Grace. If you don't go now, you'll be late to Madison Square Garden.
Okay, got it. Thanks. Listen. Mitch didn't say anything in there that doesn't make me think he wasn't, well, I'm just going to say it, a scumbag. But maybe, the very existence of your documentary and what it did for you is a living monument for humanity's capacity for good. Anyway, food for thought. I gotta go. You got my number. Okay, Alex, we are live in 3 minutes. Come on, let's do this. Good to go here. We're ready. No shit. What do you mean, no shit? What? But it's not that bad. Don't tell me you're not up for this, please.
No,
Please.
I'm not, but isn't that the point? Who's going to be watching this, by the way? Oh, right. Everybody's going to want to watch me die.
No one wants to watch you die. Just no.
Oh, you have no idea how many people are, too. I swear to God, don't
Put this wire on you right now. Hands are a little cold. Sorry. 2 minutes. Here we go. You know what? Those people are mean. We don't care about that, okay? They don't know you.
Oh,
Yes, you do. And you're going to tell them right now. Guess what? You got this, okay?
Jesus, relax.
Okay, give me a quick level check, please.
I hope I don't die doing this.
Okay, level sounds good. Also, you're not going to die. Not right now.
Honestly, I really feel like I'm having trouble breathing.
It's just nerves. I get it. It's fine.
Nerves.
COVID. Alex, you're going to have to trust me on this. Read the copy I wrote. Be yourself. You're going to be great. 1 minute, we're live. Whoa. Hey, no. Don't drink that. Don't drink that shit.
Excuse me? Do you want me to get through this? Because I need help. And saying just be yourself is not doing it.
There she is. America's sweetheart. Do the music. Rolling. All right, here we go. Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. It's gonna be awesome. 4, 3.
Good. Welcome.
So
meaning at all for me. One moment, 2 in the afternoon, next moment, 1 at night. I find myself on something of a strange journey. A journey that, unfortunately, many people either have already or soon will embark on. Because I learned the difficult news yesterday that I've tested positive for the novel coronavirus. I hope you'll join me from a safe and streaming distance as we talk about it.
You got it. You got it. Just follow the script.
I wish I could tell you I wasn't scared, but I am. Already my symptoms are more excruciating than anything I've ever experienced. And I don't say that, I really don't say that to scare you, but if that's what it takes for people to take this seriously, then I'm happy to scare the hell out of all of you. But my main concern is what I may have put on my coworkers. That is hurting me more than anything a virus can do. Really, I'm very sorry for how this all played out. But in my defense, and maybe it doesn't matter, I was tested after I returned from Italy and received a negative result. But they're telling us that the incubation period is up to 14 days, and I don't know if I even got it there. I don't know. But I have to take responsibility nonetheless. I owe a particularly big apology to my producer, Charlie Black, who was tested positive for COVID himself. But he's a fighter who most definitely has a spine. One of the best spines out there. And I know he's going to make it through.
You're listening to 96.8 WLFN, Cincinnati's only all-music, all-time station. I'm Ted. I'll be spinning until the sun comes up. Here's Mark Mull.
Hey, Mia.
Hey, how's your grandfather?
One of the nurses is sick. I know what.
So sorry to hear that.
How long until you're,
Few days?
I'm only in Ohio.
well, about yesterday.
You know, honestly, I really don't want to talk about it. I'm really not at peace with the situation, but I'm at peace with my decision.
Yeah, no, I hear that. But I want to talk about what went down. It was...
Mia, can we just be friends and not talk about work? For once. How you going now?
Daniel, all I do is work, and I make it happen at our work. But having you here makes it bearable, so I really need you to come back.
Okay, well, that's very sweet and very stupid and very much appreciated, but I quit. I'm not coming back.
Fucking hell. God damn it.
I gotta start building my own opportunities. Otherwise, I'll just keep languishing, waiting for a seat at their table when I can make a table of my own. Otherwise, we'll all just keep languishing.
Okay, Daniel, here's my pitch. I get why you left the morning show. And if you come back, it's not going to get easier because the morning show is broken.
I get that. The night before Mary's excerpt came out, I didn't sleep. I saw it.
I did the math, and I figured out that it doesn't matter where you go as a black person. You're going to do some bullshit.
It's fucked up, but it's true. And you could leave, but right now,
so many people will benefit. You sitting in the chair that Alex Levy takes for granted. Your face as the lead anchor on the most valuable news asset at UVA will mean more than you could ever imagine.
No one is offering me that seat.
you think she'll be taken someplace else?
It's fucked up everywhere. We are here now. We can keep pushing. We can keep pushing. Please don't give up on that.
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow.
Tomorrow will come. Someday.
Well, that remains to be seen. Thanks, Mia. I'll call you.
Wait. I want to hear from Grandpa.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. right now, I feel like I'm cooking, from the inside out. But in my body, trying to kill this virus, it's gonna kill me too. And the hotter I get, the more I feel out of my body. A million more symptoms, but I'm not gonna get into all of them. And at this point, there's really no treatment. To get a barometer, and that he said, unless I really can't breathe, that I just have to stay home and suck it up. So in short, it's hell.
Yeah.
Boy, it's Glenn. I'm Brian from Vicinity.
Hey, what's going on?
I just got word from Australia. Tom and Rita have COVID.
Oh, shit. Whoa. All right. Okay, so what do we do?
Well, we could go on from our other locations, but people are getting skittish. He's being kind. People are freaked out. For Christ's sake, Tom Hanson, Rita Wilson. They can get it. No one feels safe. Brian, tell him what Peter Boyd said to you. He said there was no way in hell he was coming. They just canceled the Jazz Thunder game. My buddy in Adam Silver's office says they're shutting down indefinitely.
Is it safe to do this event?
I don't feel comfortable. All the people gathered at these places, I mean,
Shut them down. Glenn, you'll put out a release.
Hey everybody, I know that you haven't seen me for the past couple days on this morning show. And we try to share as much of our personal lives as we can.
And so now, that spiky little fucker, can I say that?
you just did.
That spiky little fucker is in a race with you, the American people, to cancel me first. You know where my money is? My money is on this spiky little fucker that, corona piece of shit. Because they're real. That's real. That's their...
Hey.
Hey, I saw your post. I'm here to help.
Oh, yeah, shouldn't you be at your event?
You didn't hear? Cancel.
I was getting ready to go now.
I'll join you.
Okay.
But the legions of people who want me gone, they're not real. Those people are not real. Maggie Brenner's book is going to sell, what, like, I don't know, 30,000 if she's lucky. But I'm meant to believe that the whole world is going to be outraged about my behavior. Right. I believe that.
Okay, we're queuing the Fauci clip.
It's really fucking good. What you see now in an uncontained way, and although we are containing it in some respects, keep getting people coming in from the country that are
Oh, shit. Shit. Chip, I'm gonna need a fan of fire.
Hey, this is Charlie Black.
Hi, Charlie. This is Marcy from Opinion Health. You finally got a new batch of COVID tests in? Or did you find one somewhere else?
No, I didn't.
Oh, great. Let me schedule one for you.
Actually, I don't need it.
Did you get nothing?
Yes, I did. Negative. At least I was. Thank you anyway.
Which means it is 10 times more lethal than the seasonal
was more lethal than the flu.
Yes. What Dr. Fauci says seems to be accurate. You never like to say this, but many people will die.
Are you afraid of dying?
Afraid of dying from COVID?
No, just afraid of dying? COVID? Heart attack? Hunting accident? Anything?
I think it's natural to be afraid of death.
No, are you afraid? You personally, are you afraid of dying?
I wouldn't say afraid, no. As a doctor of infectious disease, you learn to come to terms with death.
What do you think happens when we die? Do you believe it would carry on in any way?
Well, medically, it's currently unknown. But I do have faith, and I believe this is not the end.
Yeah, see, I don't think we'd go anywhere. I mean, if you have faith, death shouldn't be scary. What I think when we die is that that's it. Oh, that's so scary, you know? It's scary to be faced with something that is just beyond the mind to understand. What does it feel like to not even know nothingness? But you can't even feel that because it's just like the absence of anything.
The world does go on.
I don't think so. I think the world will stop existing when I die. I know everyone already thinks that I'm self-centered, and yeah, I am. Is there anyone out there who is perceiving the world from somewhere other than inside their own body? Beyond that, it's a matter of faith. For me to even believe that you exist, Teja.
I do exist, Alex. I mean, this I know.
I don't know, Teja. I hope you do. I really do. I think all you can do is act like you believe it matters. You know, treat people like you'd like to be treated and hope that it matters. Hope that you're wrong about there being no next plane of existence. Hope you can reach enlightenment and know the unknowable and stop being afraid.
If you see him, will you call the number on the sheet? Thank you.
Excuse me, have you seen this
Sorry,
man?
I don't know what to do. He's not here. I feel like I've looked in every alley, every street. I don't know what to do.
You'll find it. You'll
I'm
find
starting
it.
to get hopeless.
Don't. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Just take a breath. Wait. Laura's in Montana.
Yes.
without ID, who I think is your brother. You should get down here soon. Oh my God, okay, thank you. Come on, we gotta go. They saw my brother.
During the course of this broadcast, my fever has gone up quite a lot. And I know there's those of you out there who would be saying, I deserve this. You deserve this, Alex, Levy. And you know, you might be right. I don't know. You probably are. But my response to you is, what's your fault? Is it that if I deserve it, it allows you to enjoy someone else's pain while feeling morally righteous? And by the way, the world's not fair. Fair is just a man-made concept. So why do you have this opinion? Why do you have an opinion on this? Mind your own store. Did I bring this scrutiny on myself by putting myself in the public eye? I mean, I know that makes sense to some of you, but just remember, I was a kid, like anyone else. I took my first steps, like anyone else. Had my first love, my first heartbreak. I just had the audacity to want to be on TV and try to entertain and inform you. What? Oh, so stupid. I didn't realize when I made that choice that the thing people would find most entertaining is not even the thing that I do that I'm good at. That I have risen to the highest levels of. I didn't realize that the most entertaining thing about me would be just batting me around like a freaking pinata while taking around asking questions about my sex life. All they're doing is, who's your Taylor sleeping with? Is he a good guy? Huh? Does it matter if your pants fit? I'm done apologizing for myself. And the kid on the Alex Levy train are just stinks. That's it.
Would I be waiting this long if I had insurance?
I told you that it's nothing to do with the wait time. We're obviously understaffed.
Sorry, we need your assistance.
Sorry, I was
Okay, first, man. I understand. She needs to find her brother.
We have new visitor restrictions, but I will help you when it's your turn. I don't think you understand. Somebody called me and said he's in the emergency room, and I just don't know if it's him. I have to see him to see if it's really him. I need you to wait. Wait for Lee. Those are the choices.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
I'm looking for my brother.
You can't be here. You have to leave. Get security!
Isn't it news? I swear to God, isn't it news? I gotta be up.
You scared the shit out of me. if that's actually who I am. A lot of people are going to be doing that. At least they should be. The world's never going to be finished piling on. It's always going to be coming at you. But life is, it's life, you know, and I'm alive. I mean, at least I think I'm alive. I really stay tuned. And if, you know, if you're watching this and, maybe I hope you're alive too. I mean, I really believe you won the cosmic lottery, guys, you know, just to be here right now. And I hope we figure it out. Whatever it is. You've all meant a lot to me over the years. And I want to thank you for that. From the bottom of my heart. So stay safe and stay sane. And see you later. If only I could live my life again, I wouldn't search for wealth or fame or power. I'd search for friends, and if I found a few, I'd serve them well my every waking hour. Oh, to live my life again. If only I could have another chance. I'd spend more time just being nice to people. My soul would find that building with a steeple. If only I could live my life again. If only I could live my life again. I wouldn't take so many things for granted. I wouldn't make the same mistakes again.
Love is what they tell you that you do.
I'm here to help. Every time you think you have Corey figured out, you're wrong. Here, Laura Peterson has told her to abandon her family, that they're dragging her down. And here is Corey in her moment of need saying, no, your family is all that matters, and I'm going to help you find it. I think it's going to create for Bradley and these characters
and it's so what we've been craving since we watched it in season 1. We're like, kiss her, kiss her. I love the way Carrie's over it. She's just so wild and Dan, I really need you to come back.
Okay, well, that's very sweet. Very stupid. I very much appreciate it.
The morning show is really trying to tell the story of what it's like to be a woman of color in this level of position and how Mia is hoping to make a difference. And so she's very, very focused on dealing with Daniel's changes to his own goals.
Can we just be friends and not talk about work? For once. I love how Carrie did not make Daniel and Mia one-dimensional. I think Mia is probably the person who was the hardest on Daniel this season, and to then actually come around to really see how they're able to be human and vulnerable with each other at the end. I hope that people enjoy that journey this season, because I definitely really enjoyed filming it. You know you killed Chip, right?
Chip and Alex, their relationship reaches an amazing place at the end of this season.
It is at once deeply unhealthy, I think, but there's a purity to it and a beauty to it because of how honest they are with each other. The network wants you on air tonight.
I'm sick.
I know, that's the point.
I knew Alex was going to get COVID. I just thought, well, this is going to be interesting to try to pull this off. We do a lot of research in terms of COVID and the effects of COVID. And Jen had to really go there. I'm just hoping I get to go anywhere Mimi goes. She's just my rock.
This show attracts the most amazing directors. We are so blessed to have Mimi as our captain. She's a real visionary.
Okay, Alex, we are live in 3 minutes. Come on, let's do this.
We were inspired by Chris Gilmore sharing the fact that he kept working. He had to show up and do the show every night, or else he was pretty sure he was gonna die.
Here we go. Here we go. You ready?
Either get on the Alex Movie train or just stay at the station. There's a beautiful shift in her where you just see her sort of stop apologizing for who she is because she's a human being.
We leave her at the end of season 2, I think, very much like the phoenix rising. And I think we'll be making bold decisions about being a person instead of a persona.
I'm looking inward and asking myself, who is it that I actually want to be? And then I'm looking in the mirror and I'm asking if that's actually who I am.
For the audience at home, hopefully there's been some clarity around what matters to you, what doesn't, and what should matter and what shouldn't. If we're not trying to draw lessons from that, then we're not alive to the world we're in.
Knew I should have gotten rid of that game. It's a waste of time.
Whoa! Okay. We'll go out right now and finish degumming. Please, just don't get rid of the game.
It's so much fun.
So much fun.
Fine. If you finish all your work on time, you can keep the game.
Yes! All right. Thank you.
We did it!
Yeah. See? Having a goal totally focused us.
I get it now. Work hard and then play hard.
And we're gonna be playing hard all night.
Don't say it like that.
What? Hey, Benson, where is it?
Where's what?
Our stick hockey table.
I got rid of it.
Oh, what?
But you said we could have it.
Nice try. There's no way you two degummed the entire park.
We kept our end of the deal, so give it back.
Sorry, I already took it to the thrift store.
What? Who does that?
How was I supposed to know you'd actually finish your work for once?
You can't just say one thing and then turn around and do another.
What are you talking about? You guys do that all the time.
That's different. You're the boss.
How are we supposed to work for someone we can't trust?
Hey, trust me. I did you guys a favor. That thing is a waste of time. Skips, back me up.
You shouldn't have thrown away that game, Benson.
I concur. One must be a man of his word. I can't believe this.
We want our game back.
Yeah, man, you owe us.
You do owe him.
All right, let's go get it.
Yeah, the game with the sticks. Nah, it's gone. I sold it to Jeffy over at Thrift World.
What?
Yeah, it was in great condition. I don't know why someone would just donate it like that.
Yeah, they probably weren't thinking straight.
Wait, where's my head? I got another stick game in the back.
Really?
Yeah, right over there.
Whoa.
Hey, great find, guys. This is great.
It's not the same.
No, but some would say foosball's better. It's got the same wrist action, plus mass appeal. Way more people play soccer than hockey. Come on, give it a shot.
So what's this called again? Foosball?
See? So we getting it?
I can't believe you tried to pawn off that junky foosball table on us.
Sorry, geez. At least it was pretty much brand new. That old stick hockey game was a piece of junk.
Oh, of course you think that.
That piece of junk was the coolest thing in the whole park.
Sure, it's cool now, but keep playing it, and one day, bam, your lives are ruined.
What are you talking about? It's just stick hockey.
You just trust me on this one?
All right, Benson, we trust you. Oh, wait. Now I'm taking the trust I said you could have, and I'm throwing it away instead.
This wouldn't have happened if you guys had done your job.
No. You can't get mad this time. You messed up, not us.
Just listen to me.
You know what, Benson? Forget it. Thanks for all your help, but we can get the stick hockey table without you.
What the heck? How am I supposed to get back to the park?
We heard there was a stick hockey table here.
Benson, can't you join our game of cards? Not now, Pops. Suit yourself.
Where are Mordecai and Rigby?
How should I know? They stole the cart and took off without me. Can you believe it?
After what you pulled, I believe it.
What? You're still on their side?
You should have at least given them a chance.
It seems the honorable thing to do is to apologize. Oh, look! This one is huge! All right. Mordecai, Rigby, are you there? Pick up.
Let me try. Mordecai, Rigby, are you there?
Hey, Skips.
Tell them I want to talk to them. Tell them.
Where are you guys? Okay.
So what, are they still mad at me? Where are they?
You're not gonna like it.
This is so not fun. So not fun. I don't want to chop off our heads.
Who's going to finish your game now?
I'll finish it.
Death Dragon.
Well, looks like we're up. Just remember what I taught you.
Thank you, mister.
I'll see you in the finals.
Master, I thought you said this was gonna be so much fun. I always knew the dragon would return to his lair.
I go by Benson now.
Ooh, Benson.
I'm here to get my friends and go.
Who, these pathetic stick twiddlers?
Don't say it like that.
Get rid of them. Now, what are you going to do about it?
I'm going to finish the game and beat you like I should have 10 years ago.
No, Benson, don't! Don't do it! This game is to the death!
Trust me.
I see you've retained some of your skills. Too bad the game has changed.
There you go. Good as new.
Thanks, Benson.
Before you say anything else, I want to apologize for getting rid of your game. I shouldn't have gone back on my word.
That's cool.
Guess I just didn't want to see you end up like me. Some dried out loser stuck working out hard because he wasted his life playing stick hockey.
Yeah, totally.
So what do you say? You want to play around?
No. I think we're good. We should have trusted you, Benson.
We're going back to video games.
Later.
Why do I even bother?
Butte. So who are we up against?
Some team called the Magical Elements.
The magical element? More like the magical loser mints.
What did you say about us? So, you blokes must be the Park Strikers. If you ask me, you're in for quite a beatdown.
Yes, our team has stood undefeated for thousands of years. No mortal stands a chance against the magical element.
Shouldn't be a problem. These guys were out of their element by even being here.
No, you're out of your element. You and your lame matching uniforms. I'll bet those aren't even... Hey, what I tell you guys about using magic? You want to be in this league, then no magic stuff, all right?
Don't matter. Magic or not, we're still going to beat you, chumps. Well, that's just your opinion, Death. No, it's a fact. Get used to it.
Get used to this. We're going to rub those trophies in your face right after we rub these bowling bags in your face. Who would have thought that a mandatory team-building activity would get us to the championship?
Thanks to my power hook.
No way. Thanks to my atomic fireball. And because of my backup ball. Who are we kidding? Our team would suck without this guy.
Yeah. With Skips, we got the Magical Elements beat.
Just Skips. The only reason we're going to win.
All right, guys, I'll be back.
Okay, we got a Carnivore Deluxe here.
Finally.
I know it's you, Death. Hello, Skips. What do you want? I gotta get back to dinner with my friends. Oh, yes, friends. Tell me, Skips, these friends, they idolize you, yeah? Nah, it's respect. They wouldn't respect the Skips I know. What are you talking about? You know that I know that you've been lying to them for a long time. We wouldn't want our little secret to come out now, would we? That's not who I am anymore. If that secret came out, it could ruin me. Yeah, I guess it could. Sit the game out and I won't tell. Think it over.
First on the agenda is trophy talk. Who gets the trophy on what day? I think this schedule is more than fair. Oh, perfect timing.
Look, I got something to say. I can't play in the tournament.
What?
Why?
I just can't. Sorry.
Okay. Next on the agenda. Losing and how to deal with it. Because we're going to lose.
No, I'm cool with forfeiting.
No, we can't. It's just a trophy. That trophy is more than just a trophy. We can't let Death win. Skips isn't the team. We are. The past. That was Skip's time. Skip's time. Now it's our time. Our time. Sure, this is a setback, but that just means we gotta train harder. Are we gonna win that trophy? Yeah. Are we gonna wipe that smug look off of Death's face? Yeah. Okay, who are we gonna get to replace Skips?
One pin! Well, if it isn't the Park Strikers.
Hey, what happened to Skips?
Oh, that's not Skips, just some bloke with a fat head. Oi, Rigby, don't forget about our little wager. Good day, gents.
Rigby, what is he talking about?
Oh man, I forgot my bowling cow. You know, you guys shouldn't even show up tomorrow. There's no way you're gonna win.
Oh, let me out. Calm down. Calm down. I got this. You seem pretty sure of yourself. How about a wager? Your team souls, money souls.
Oh, soul ball. I could rub that in so many people's faces. I'm sorry. With Skips on our team, we were guaranteed to win. But after he quit, I was too embarrassed to tell you about the bet. But hey, now you know, right?
We gotta get Skips back.
Skips! Skips! Look at the note! Dear Park Strikers, something from my past has come back to haunt me, and I'm rethinking my life. I'm going
To where the road takes me now. You might not see me for a while. Sorry for letting you down.
Your friend Skips. What do we do now? There's only one thing we can do.
kiss our souls goodbye. So we're feeling a bit abandoned. You know what would help? Some tunes.
We're live at the Stardust Lounge, the final game of the tournament. Park Strikers versus Magical Elements. Tonight, these strikers are not only playing for that trophy, they're playing for their souls. Benson of the Strikers is up.
Come on, you can get this.
He needs that spare.
Oi, Benson! Joke, 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 joke!
Holy cow! That's another strike for the Magical Elements by Death. And another doozy for the Park Strikers, who are off to a rough start.
You're up, Pops. Oh, time to be my soul at you. Wait, look! Yes!
And we're down to the final frames, folks. The two teams are neck and neck. The Park Strikers are just one strike away from victory.
Wait, guys, I've got this. Remember our little convo skips? Shall I tell them your secret?
Secret? What secret? What does he mean, Skips?
My friend's souls are more important than my secret. You want to tell him my real name isn't Skips? Go ahead.
me, Skip.
Yeah, why did
I've been wondering that.
You know, I think you guys have heard enough secrets for one night.
Why does he fucking...
Oh, would you look at that? And what are you cuties supposed to be?
Ghosts. They're ghosts.
Oh, well, I know, but I was just asking.
Well, they don't talk much. They're shy.
Oh, mm-hmm. Well, here you go, kids. Happy Halloween!
What do we say?
Trick or treat! Trick or treat! Trick or treat! Trick or treat! Hey, wait a second! Are those even kids in those costumes? Unbelievable! You be candy, lady! Oh, man!
Man, this is lame. We've been out here for hours and I hardly have any candy to show for it. Yeah, well, I told you jumping out of the bushes wasn't a good idea. I'm an old-timey robber. It's what I do. Come on, you gotta commit to the part. Yeah, well, you should have committed to dressing up as a dad like me, because you would have got 5 times the candy. I'm not dressing like a dad. It's lame. Yeah, well, I'm just saying. Yeah, well, what's the point of dressing up if you're not gonna dress up to look cool? Dude, it's to get candy. The point of dressing up is to get a buttload of candy, which I did. So I'm calling it a night. What? No, come on, man. Just one more house. Fine, whatever, dude. Just make it quick. Trick or treat! Oh, come on, man. Trick or treat! I said trick or treat! Did you see that? Yeah, they're not home. Let's go. No, they're obviously home and can't be bothered to give out some candy. They're gonna pay. Dude, come on. Don't egg the guy's house. That's not cool. Why not? There aren't any cops around.
Hey, what are you doing with those eggs? You better not be egging houses, because that's illegal.
No. I was just having a snack.
You're having raw eggs for a snack? On Halloween?
Yeah. I don't believe this.
Ugh. I don't understand kids these days.
Come on, dude. Let's just get out of here. You heard what the cops said? No way. I ate a raw egg. This guy's gonna pay. Rigby. Just relax, man. I think we should just go, man. All right, let's roll.
You're going to pay for that. That's it.
I'm going back to work. But it was really scary.
And you're paying for those eggs.
Tough crowd. What am I gonna do? That wizard is coming to get me. Dude, no one's coming to get you. That guy was just some old creep dressed up for Halloween. No way, man. That guy used his magic on me. I could feel it. Why'd you let me egg that house? I'll trade you this spider ring for a candy bar. What was that? Dude, there's nothing there. Are you gonna trade me that candy bar? Sure. Rigby, what the heck? You're acting all paranoid. But I saw something! Wait, did you hear that? Hear what? Dude, this is serious! Come on, Rigby. If that wizard was gonna get you, you'd be dead by now. Rigby?
I don't feel so good.
Rigby? What the heck is that? It won't come off! Quit it! That wizard put a curse on you! You think? Dude, you have to apologize to him. What? No way!
wasn't home. Great. It smells like Rigby in here. Quite unsettling.
Oh, check it. Stairs. Let's run on it.
Dude, this is nuts. You're actually a house.
What do we do now? I don't want to stay like this forever.
I don't know. It's not so bad. It's a lot nicer than anything you could ever afford.
Whoa, there's even a bathroom. Hey, Ricky, can I?
No way!
Hello? It's for Rigby.
Put it on speaker!
How do you like the new body? Don't think this is all over, because I'm just getting started. You're gonna pay. You're gonna...
Listen, I don't know who this is, but you better change Rigby back right now or
No one tells me what to do.
Listen!
You think you can interrupt my phone call and get away with it? Now you're all gonna pay. See you soon. Rigby with it, dude. Change Rigby back and then get out of here. Don't make me ask twice. Quit whispering in my ear, bro.
What's the matter, Mitch? Don't have any clever jokes about your money?
Did you guys see that?
This is not good.
What are we gonna do then? Guys? What? What is it?
I told you I was ripped. Malphite's wait.
Hello?
Goodbye.
We're still going.
What's happening? Hello? Is anybody there? Can anyone hear me?
Rigby!
Mordecai!
Don't worry, Rigby. I'm here. I won't let anything happen to you. Huh. So this is what it feels like to be as tall as Rigby.
Mordecai? Mordecai? I'm sorry, okay? I shouldn't have been in your house. Do you hear me? I'm sorry.
I told you you paid.
Well then, what are you waiting for? Do it! Do it already! Huh? What?
How do you like it?
What? You turned me into a house and killed all my friends just to throw eggs at me? That's it?
Yep, that's it.
The end.
Weak! That's it? Watch out, guys. Some scary old guy's gonna turn you into a house.
Just a few more boxes to go.
Oh, wonderful! I can't thank you enough for helping me clean out my room. It's just so hard to know what to keep and what to throw away.
Yeah, but don't worry, Pops. We'll be honest with you. If it's cool, keep it. And if it's lame, throw it away.
Oh, yeah, last box! What's it gonna be?
Look who it is! Mordecai and Rigby, this is my old childhood friend Percy. Pretty cool, eh?
Oh, dude.
No, not cool, Pops.
Oh, but no, he is cool. He was the most sophisticated doll of his day, with more than 250 phrases stored inside. Why, you never know what he's going to say next.
I'm gonna draw on your face. That's really creepy, Pops.
Creepy? What are you talking about? Percy is not at all creepy.
Seriously, I'm gonna draw on your face.
Pops, look. You've got to get rid of that thing.
What? Are you sure?
Pops, you're a grown man. It's just not cool to play with dolls.
Oh, out with the old and in with the new, eh?
Hey, Pops, a hornet's nest. Wanna go huck rocks at it?
Oh, Pops, what happened? Percy and I were just having a play date.
Why did you draw all over your face?
I didn't. Percy did it. Isn't he a riot?
Pops, I told you it wasn't cool to play with dolls. Are you gonna throw them away?
Oh, yes, I tried, but it didn't work.
Look, we'll do it for you.
Yeah, trust us. This is for your own good, Pops.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, Pops. We'll take good care of them. Dude, what was that?
I don't know. Probably Pops bummed out that we threw his doll away or something.
We better go check on him. Pops, huh? Dude, it's locked.
Who's Pops talking to?
What the?
Here, Percy, have some tea.
Have some tea. What's wrong with you? I don't want your tea. I want to draw on your face.
Dude, we got Pops.
You're all gonna get drawn on.
Pops, are you alright?
Yes, I'm fine.
Dude, what are we gonna do about that thing?
We have to stop him.
Hey, Bada.
Did you hear that?
Pops, bring me the marker so I can draw on their faces.
No,
What? Bring me the marker.
I said no. It's not cool for a grown man to have dolls. You have to go away now, Percy.
Give me that marker.
Mordecai, Rigby, are you all right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
See, Pops? We told you dolls aren't cool.
The end.
I guess that was kind of scary.
Yes, because of the doll's unnatural desire to mark on things.
Oh, lame. I thought you guys said these stories were going to be scary. Thanks for wasting our time. Come on, boys, let's bail.
So seriously, can we stop inviting them to stuff?
That's not our trailer. It's just a big pile of car barf. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Crash pit?
Crash pit!
Yeah.